Life is full of choices, and one of the most important choices we make is who we invest our time, energy, and kindness in. Every day we are faced with decisions about whether to help someone in need, extend a hand to a friend, or support a loved one going through tough times. Yet, not every act of help leads to a positive outcome. Sometimes, offering help can drain your energy, bring unnecessary stress, or even make things worse for the other person. We all want to be kind. We want to be the person that others can rely on. But the truth is, there are times when helping does more harm than good, not just to us, but to the very people we are trying to assist. While kindness is one of the greatest virtues, it must be paired with wisdom. Giving without discernment often leads to enabling harmful behaviors, draining our own energy, and entangling ourselves in situations that rob us of our peace of mind. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy, teaches us the importance of knowing our limits. It reminds us that there are people we should avoid helping because their intentions, behaviors, or patterns only lead to chaos, harm, or manipulation. To protect our inner peace, we must learn when to say no with confidence, without feeling guilty or selfish. Understanding this doesn't make us unkind. It makes us wise. It allows us to focus our help on those who genuinely need it and will benefit from it. In life, we have all crossed paths with people who seem to take more than they give, those who repeatedly ask for help but never truly make an effort to improve their situation. These are the ones who, no matter how much energy or time we pour into them, continue to drain us emotionally and mentally. These are the people who pull us into their endless cycles of negativity, toxic habits, or poor decisions. They expect us to fix their problems, but they refuse to take responsibility for their own lives. This isn't helping, it's enabling, and it's something Stoicism teaches us to guard against. It can be difficult to walk away from those who need help, especially if they're family members, close friends, or even partners. We feel obligated, out of love or loyalty, to always be there. But love and loyalty should never be used as reasons to sacrifice our own well-being. If a relationship consistently leaves you feeling drained, taken advantage of, or emotionally exhausted, Stoicism teaches that it's time to set boundaries. True help comes from supporting others in a way that also protects your own mental and emotional health. The moment you start feeling like you're losing yourself in the process of helping someone, that's a red flag. Some people are in constant need because they refuse to change. They use their struggles as a way to keep others close, to gain sympathy, or to avoid taking responsibility for their own choices. These individuals pull others into their problems not because they want solutions, but because they want attention or validation. Stoicism teaches us that while it is important to help those who are genuinely trying to better themselves, it is equally important to recognize when someone is stuck in a cycle of self-pity or manipulation. At times we encounter people who take advantage of our good nature, who see kindness as a weakness to be exploited. Whether it's a friend who never reciprocates, a colleague who only contacts you when they need something, or a partner who drains you emotionally, Stoicism encourages us to recognize these patterns and step away. It's easy to think that by helping them, we are being virtuous, but the truth is that by allowing them to take advantage of us, we are enabling their bad behavior and losing our own sense of peace. In our pursuit of helping others, we sometimes forget to help ourselves. We allow others to push our boundaries, and we keep giving because we believe that's what makes us good people. But what happens when your well runs dry? Who will refill your cup? Stoicism reminds us that we must first take care of ourselves before we can truly offer help to others. It's not selfish to prioritize your mental health and well-being. It's essential. When you're constantly drained, you're not in a position to offer genuine support to anyone else. We must also consider how helping someone can sometimes prevent them from learning important life lessons. Stoicism teaches that adversity is a powerful teacher, and by constantly stepping in to save someone from their struggles, we may rob them of the chance to grow and become stronger. There is value in allowing others to face their own challenges, to develop resilience, and to take ownership of their lives. Sometimes the best way to help someone is to step back and let them navigate their difficulties on their own. Only then can they truly grow. It's crucial to recognize that not every act of help is noble. Some people use others' kindness to their advantage, draining them without ever considering the toll it takes. It's one thing to help someone who is genuinely in need and making an effort to improve, but it's another to continuously help someone who refuses to take responsibility for their own life. Stoicism teaches that we must be selective about where and to whom we offer our energy. When we are clear about who deserves our help, we maintain our sense of inner peace and avoid being pulled into unnecessary drama or emotional turmoil. Letting go of toxic relationships and individuals who take more than they give is a necessary step toward emotional freedom. Stoicism encourages us to practice indifference toward things that are beyond our control, and often the behaviors and choices of others fall into this category. You cannot change someone who doesn't want to change, and wasting your energy trying to fix people will only lead to frustration and resentment. Instead, focus on maintaining your own tranquility, cultivating relationships that are based on mutual respect and growth. The journey to emotional detachment and wisdom begins with self-awareness. Are you constantly feeling drained by certain people in your life? Do you find yourself helping others out of guilt or obligation rather than a genuine desire to make a difference? Stoicism asks us to reflect on these questions and make decisions that protect our peace. Saying no isn't a sign of weakness or selfishness. It's a sign of strength and self-respect. In a world that often glorifies endless giving, Stoicism offers a balanced approach. It teaches us that help should be given with intention, not as a reflex. We should offer help to those who are willing to grow, who respect our boundaries, and who understand the value of reciprocity. But for those who drain us, take advantage of us, or refuse to take responsibility for their own lives, the kindest thing we can do is to walk away. True kindness lies in preserving your own well-being, so you can continue to be a source of strength and support for those who truly need and appreciate it. As we move through life, we will encounter many people who seek our help. Some will be deserving, others will not. Stoicism reminds us to remain calm, rational, and discerning. Protect your energy. Offer help wisely. And remember, your peace is your greatest treasure. Guard it fiercely. As you stand at the crossroads of helping others and protecting your own peace, a question lingers in the mind. How do you care for people without losing yourself? The answer lies in emotional detachment, a practice that Stoics mastered to perfection. Emotional detachment is not about being cold or indifferent to others, but rather a way of caring deeply without being consumed by the chaos and unpredictability of life. It is the art of maintaining your inner calm, no matter the storm that rages around you. When you help someone, there's always the risk of becoming too attached to the outcome, of letting their struggles seep into your own life. Stoicism teaches us that while it's natural to care, we must also guard our emotional balance. Emotional detachment gives us the strength to help others while preserving our own peace. It allows us to offer support without being dragged into someone else's emotional whirlwind. This approach doesn't make you less compassionate, it makes you wise. The foundation of emotional detachment is rooted in recognizing what is within your control and what is not. When we invest emotionally in things beyond our control, like another person's behavior or the outcome of a situation, we set ourselves up for disappointment and frustration. Stoics emphasize focusing only on what you can control, your actions, thoughts, and responses. Everything else is out of your hands. This realization is freeing and helps create a clear boundary between caring for someone and being consumed by their issues. By practicing emotional detachment, you protect yourself from the constant drain of energy that comes from trying to control others or worrying about things that are beyond your influence. It's a lesson in letting go. This doesn't mean you stop caring, but that you care with the understanding that your peace is the priority. The more you cling to outcomes, the more you suffer. Letting go gives you clarity. Emotional detachment also allows you to help others without falling into the trap of overcommitment. Often, in the desire to help, we give too much of ourselves, our time, energy, and emotional resources, leaving little for our own well-being. Stoicism teaches that balance is key. You can be a source of support without being a constant emotional crutch for others. If you lose yourself in the process of helping, you are no longer truly helping. You're sacrificing your own peace for someone else's turmoil. Through emotional detachment, you gain the ability to observe situations from a distance without being overwhelmed by them. It helps you keep your perspective clear and unbiased, ensuring that you offer help from a place of wisdom rather than emotional impulse. This clarity allows you to see the bigger picture and recognize when stepping back is the most compassionate thing you can do for both yourself and the other person. This practice requires mindfulness. It's easy to get pulled into other people's emotions, especially when you care deeply. But Stoicism teaches us that emotional detachment is a skill that can be cultivated over time. By becoming more mindful of your emotional boundaries, you can offer support without allowing the emotional weight of others to burden you. This helps you stay strong, focused, and present, not only for yourself, but for those around you. One of the greatest challenges in emotional detachment is learning to help without expecting anything in return. Often, we subconsciously seek gratitude, appreciation, or change from the person we are helping. But Stoicism teaches us to let go of these expectations. When you help without the need for acknowledgement, you free yourself from the emotional roller coaster of unmet expectations. Your peace becomes independent of how others react or what happens next. At its core, emotional detachment is about protecting your energy. Every time you invest emotionally in someone else's problems, you expend energy. Without boundaries, this can lead to emotional exhaustion, which leaves you drained and unable to function at your best. Stoicism encourages us to manage our energy wisely, ensuring that we have enough for ourselves before offering it to others. This isn't selfishness, it's self-preservation. The key to cultivating emotional detachment is understanding that you cannot control the choices or outcomes of other people's lives. No matter how much you care, no matter how much you want to help, the decisions others make are beyond your influence. This realization can be painful, especially when you're invested in someone else's well-being, but it is also liberating. Once you accept this truth, you no longer feel the burden of fixing everything for everyone. Another important aspect of emotional detachment is learning to be comfortable with the discomfort of not helping. There will be times when the best course of action is to step back, even when it feels counterintuitive. Letting go of the urge to fix someone else's problems is an act of self-discipline and wisdom. Stoicism teaches that sometimes the most helpful thing you can do is allow others to face their struggles on their own. This can be difficult, but it is often necessary for their growth and independence. Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of self-care in emotional detachment. You cannot pour from an empty cup. By ensuring that your own emotional needs are met, you are better equipped to offer genuine help when needed. This means taking time to reflect, recharge, and focus on your own well-being. The more centered and balanced you are, the more effective your help will be. Emotional detachment allows you to offer help without becoming entangled in the drama of the situation. You maintain your objectivity and can provide clearer, more thoughtful solutions. This level-headed approach is much more beneficial than getting caught up in emotional reactions, which can cloud your judgment and lead to hasty, ill-considered decisions. Another powerful lesson in emotional detachment is learning to accept that not every situation can be fixed. Stoicism teaches us to embrace the reality that some problems are beyond our ability to solve. This doesn't mean we should stop trying to help where we can, but rather that we should not tie our self-worth to our ability to fix others' problems. Sometimes, the most compassionate thing we can do is recognize our limits and allow life to unfold as it will. In cultivating emotional detachment, you also learn the art of setting boundaries. Boundaries are essential for maintaining your emotional health. They protect you from being overwhelmed by others' problems and ensure that you remain grounded in your own reality. Stoicism teaches that these boundaries are not walls to keep people out, but rather guidelines for how to engage with the world in a way that preserves your peace. Stoicism encourages us to practice gratitude for what we can control and accept what we cannot. This mindset shift helps to reduce the emotional burden of trying to manage situations that are beyond our influence. By focusing on what is within your power, you can better allocate your energy and resources, ensuring that you are not wasting them on things or people that will drain you. Emotional detachment also fosters resilience. When you are not overly invested in the outcome of every situation, you become less susceptible to emotional setbacks. You can handle disappointment or failure with grace, because your emotional state is not tied to external factors. This resilience is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, allowing you to move through life with a calm, steady mind, regardless of the challenges you face. Through detachment, you become a more effective helper. You can offer support that is grounded in logic and reason, rather than emotional reactions. This makes your assistance more meaningful and sustainable, as you are not burnt out by the process. Detachment doesn't mean you care less. It means you care in a way that is healthy for both you and the person you're helping. A critical element of emotional detachment is practicing acceptance. Stoicism teaches us to accept reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. This means acknowledging that people will not always change, no matter how much help you offer. Acceptance allows you to offer help from a place of understanding rather than frustration. You know the limits of your influence, and you are at peace with whatever outcome may arise. Detachment also gives you the strength to walk away when necessary. Some people and situations are beyond help, and staying involved only causes harm to you. Stoicism teaches that it is not your duty to save everyone, and sometimes the most compassionate act is to step away, protecting your own peace in the process. Emotional detachment empowers you to stay calm in the face of other people's crises. When someone else is spiraling, your detachment allows you to remain steady and clear-minded. This not only helps you, but also provides a stabilizing presence for others. Your calmness can become a source of strength for those around you, allowing you to offer guidance without being swept up in the chaos. By mastering emotional detachment, you gain the freedom to live your life on your own terms. You are no longer held captive by the emotional demands of others or the need to fix every problem. You can move through life with a sense of peace, knowing that you are doing what you can without sacrificing your own well-being. Ultimately, emotional detachment is about balance. It allows you to help others while preserving your own peace. It gives you the strength to set boundaries, the wisdom to know when to step back, and the resilience to handle life's challenges without being overwhelmed. Stoicism teaches us that true compassion is rooted in wisdom, and emotional detachment is the key to offering help in a way that benefits both you and those around you. As emotional detachment helps you protect your inner peace and maintain healthy boundaries, the next logical step is being selective about the people you allow into your life. Relationships are powerful. They shape our thoughts, influence our behavior, and impact our emotional well-being. Stoicism teaches us to choose our friends with wisdom and care, ensuring that the people we surround ourselves with align with our values and contribute positively to our lives. Who you choose to walk with on this journey can either strengthen or weaken your pursuit of a virtuous life. Friendships are not merely about shared experiences or common interests. In the Stoic sense, friendships are about character. Stoicism encourages us to seek out friends who push us toward growth, challenge us to be better, and hold us accountable to our principles. These are not casual acquaintances, but companions who walk beside us on the path to virtue. Their influence matters, and so we must be careful in choosing them. One of the central teachings of Stoicism is the idea that you become like the people you spend the most time with. If you surround yourself with those who lack integrity, discipline, or a sense of purpose, their habits will inevitably rub off on you. Stoics warn against associating with individuals who indulge in negative behaviors because over time their negativity will affect you. It's not enough to avoid bad habits in yourself. You must also guard against absorbing them from those around you. This doesn't mean you should cut off anyone who isn't perfect, but Stoicism encourages you to evaluate whether a friendship is helping you grow or holding you back. Are your friends uplifting you, encouraging your best self, and inspiring you to stay true to your values? Or do they constantly pull you into situations that lead to regret and distraction? This evaluation is crucial in making sure that the people in your life are not hindering your pursuit of inner peace and virtue. Stoic wisdom emphasizes quality over quantity in friendships. It's far better to have a few true friends who contribute positively to your life than to have many acquaintances who drain your energy. True friendship, according to Stoicism, is rare and valuable. It's built on mutual respect, trust, and a shared commitment to living according to nature. These friendships are not based on superficial traits like status or wealth, but on the deeper connection that comes from shared values and goals. One of the greatest lessons Stoicism offers on friendship is that a true friend will challenge you when necessary. A real friend is not someone who tells you what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. They help you stay grounded, providing honest feedback and pointing out where you may be falling short of your principles. This level of honesty can be uncomfortable at times, but it is essential for growth. If your friends only seek to please you or avoid difficult conversations, they are not helping you grow. It is equally important to reflect on the kind of friend you are to others. Stoicism teaches that relationships are a two-way street, and just as you seek virtuous friends, you must strive to be one yourself. This means being reliable, supportive, and honest with those around you. It also means respecting the boundaries and needs of others, just as you expect them to respect yours. Friendship is a partnership in virtue, and both parties must contribute to its strength. Another aspect of choosing your friends wisely is recognizing when a relationship has run its course. Some friendships, while once positive, may no longer serve your growth. People change, and as you evolve in your pursuit of virtue, you may find that certain relationships no longer align with your values. Stoicism teaches that it is okay to let go of friendships that have become toxic or stagnant. This is not an act of cruelty, but of self-preservation. Holding on to relationships out of obligation or fear of conflict will only drag you down. True friends are those who respect your boundaries and encourage you to respect your own. They understand the importance of balance in life and do not demand more from you than you can give. Stoicism teaches us to avoid friendships that drain our energy and time without offering anything meaningful in return. Such relationships are unbalanced and often rooted in dependence rather than mutual respect. Another key lesson from Stoicism on friendships is the importance of shared values. While differences in interests or backgrounds can make relationships rich and diverse, there must be a core alignment in principles. If your friends hold values that conflict with your own, it will inevitably lead to tension and compromise on your part. Over time, this can erode your commitment to your personal growth and integrity. Choosing friends who share your commitment to living a virtuous life strengthens your resolve and helps you stay on the path of self-improvement. Stoicism also reminds us that friendship should never be transactional. Real friends do not keep score or expect something in return for their kindness. Instead, they give freely out of care and mutual respect. If you find yourself in relationships where everything is about reciprocity and obligation, it may be time to reassess whether those friendships are genuine. Stoic friendships are built on generosity of spirit, where both parties give without the expectation of receiving. There's also a lesson in humility in the Stoic approach to friendships. While it's important to choose friends who inspire and support you, it's equally important to be humble enough to learn from them. No matter how much you think you know, your friends can offer perspectives and insights that you may have overlooked. Being open to learning from others is a crucial part of the Stoic philosophy, and friendships provide a space for this kind of mutual growth. At the same time, Stoicism teaches that you should not rely too heavily on friendships for your happiness. While good friends can enhance your life, they should not be the foundation of your contentment. True peace comes from within, and relying too much on others for emotional stability is a form of attachment that Stoicism warns against. By cultivating emotional independence, you ensure that your friendships are healthy and not rooted in neediness or dependence. Choosing your friends wisely also means avoiding those who encourage you to stray from your principles. There are people who, consciously or not, will try to lead you into behaviors or habits that go against your values. Whether it's indulging in gossip, engaging in unethical activities, or fostering negative attitudes, these individuals are not true friends. Stoicism teaches that you must have the strength to walk away from these relationships for the sake of your own integrity. Stoic friendships are grounded in trust. Without trust, a relationship cannot thrive. Trust is built through consistent, virtuous behavior over time. If a friend consistently breaks your trust, Stoicism teaches that it is better to let that relationship go than to continually subject yourself to betrayal. Trust is the foundation of any strong friendship, and once it is broken, it is difficult to rebuild. Another important aspect of friendship in Stoicism is the idea of reciprocity, not in the sense of trading favors, but in the mutual exchange of growth and support. A good friendship is one where both parties benefit from each other's company, where there is a balance of give and take, and where both individuals are better for having the other in their lives. If a friendship feels one-sided, where you are constantly giving and the other person is only taking, it is worth considering whether that relationship is serving your best interests. Stoicism also encourages us to seek friendships that inspire us to be better. Surrounding yourself with people who embody the values you aspire to can help you stay on track in your own journey toward virtue. These are the friends who lead by example, who push you to be your best self, and who are there to support you when you falter. By choosing friends who inspire you, you create an environment of growth and positivity. At the same time, it's important to be aware of how you influence others. Stoicism teaches that we should not only seek virtuous friends, but strive to be a virtuous influence in their lives as well. Friendship is a two-way street, And just as you benefit from the presence of strong, principled individuals, they should benefit from having you in their lives. Your actions, words, and attitudes should reflect the values you want to cultivate, offering your friends the same support and inspiration they provide you. It's also important to recognize that friendships, like all relationships, require effort. Stoicism teaches that while good friendships may develop naturally, they also need to be nurtured. Consistency, honesty, and respect are the pillars of any strong relationship. Neglecting a friendship or taking it for granted will lead to its deterioration. Just as you would care for your physical health or your mental well-being, you must also care for your friendships to keep them strong and positive. Being a good friend also means being patient. Stoicism teaches that everyone is on their own path and will grow at their own pace. It's easy to become frustrated when friends don't change as quickly as we'd like or don't live up to our expectations. However, Stoicism reminds us to practice patience and understanding, offering our support without judgment or pressure. True friendship is about accepting people as they are, while gently encouraging them to be their best selves. It's also crucial to avoid friendships built on competition or jealousy. These emotions can quickly turn a friendship toxic, leading to resentment and conflict. Stoicism teaches us that envy is a destructive emotion, one that distracts us from our own path and causes unnecessary suffering. A true friend is someone who celebrates your successes and supports you without comparing your achievements to their own. At times, choosing the right friends means walking away from relationships that no longer serve you. This can be one of the most difficult aspects of Stoic friendship, but it is also one of the most necessary. When a relationship becomes toxic, manipulative, or draining, Stoicism teaches us to have the courage to let it go. It's not an easy decision, but it is often the best one for preserving your peace and integrity. True friends also understand the importance of space and independence. Stoicism values self-reliance, and a good friend respects your need for time alone to reflect and recharge. They don't demand constant attention or expect you to be available at all times. Instead, they respect your boundaries and support your need for solitude. This kind of mutual respect fosters a healthy, balanced friendship. In friendships, as in life, Stoicism teaches us to focus on what is within our control. You cannot control how others act or feel, but you can control how you respond and what you tolerate. By choosing your friends wisely, you protect your energy and ensure that your relationships are a source of strength, not stress. Stoicism also reminds us that friendships should be based on mutual respect, not obligation. If you feel pressured to maintain a friendship out of guilt or duty, it's likely not a healthy relationship. True friendship is voluntary and should feel like a natural extension of your values and priorities, not a burden or responsibility. Choosing your friends wisely is one of the most important decisions you will make in life. The people you surround yourself with will shape your thoughts, influence your behavior, and impact your emotional well-being. By following Stoic principles and carefully selecting friends who align with your values, you ensure that your relationships are not only supportive and positive, but also help you grow into the best version of yourself. As we reflect on the importance of choosing the right friends, another inevitable lesson comes into focus: the need to let go of relationships that no longer serve us. Stoicism teaches that relationships, like everything in life, must align with our pursuit of virtue and peace. Yet, many of us cling to toxic connections out of fear, guilt, or a misguided sense of loyalty. But the longer we hold on to these damaging ties, the further we drift from the tranquility we seek. Letting go of toxic relationships is not just an act of self-preservation, it is essential for our growth and well-being. Stoicism reminds us that we are responsible for our own peace. When we keep toxic relationships in our lives, we allow someone else's negativity, manipulation, or emotional instability to disturb our inner calm. While it's natural to want to help others, Stoicism teaches that we must first protect our own well-being. A relationship that consistently drains you, leaves you feeling anxious or guilty, or diminishes your self-worth, is one that requires serious reflection. Staying in such a situation does not benefit either person. It only leads to further harm. Letting go of toxic relationships is often difficult because it triggers deep emotional responses. We may feel obligated to stay, especially if the relationship has a long history or if the other person relies on us for support. Stoicism teaches that emotional attachments can cloud our judgment, making it harder to recognize when a relationship has become harmful. By practicing emotional detachment, we can evaluate the situation with clarity, focusing on what is best for our peace and growth. Toxic relationships are often rooted in imbalance, one person giving more than they receive, or one person constantly taking without offering anything in return. This dynamic not only drains your energy, but also undermines your sense of self-respect. Stoicism teaches that relationships should be built on mutual respect and reciprocity. When this balance is lost, it's a sign that the relationship is no longer healthy, and it's time to consider letting go. Another reason letting go of toxic relationships is essential is that they often prevent us from fully embracing our potential. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of self-mastery and personal growth, but toxic relationships can keep us stuck in negative patterns, preventing us from moving forward. Whether it's through constant criticism, manipulation, or emotional blackmail, toxic individuals have a way of holding us back, keeping us tethered to their chaos. Letting go allows us to reclaim our energy and focus on what truly matters, our own growth and happiness. Toxic relationships often thrive on control and manipulation. Stoicism teaches that control is an illusion. None of us have control over others, only over ourselves. When we allow someone else to manipulate our emotions or actions, we give away our personal power. Letting go of these relationships is an act of reclaiming your autonomy. It's a decision to stop allowing someone else's negativity to dictate your mood, decisions, or sense of self-worth. One of the hardest aspects of letting go is the fear of loneliness. Many people stay in toxic relationships because they fear being alone, thinking that any relationship is better than none. Stoicism teaches us that solitude is not something to fear, but something to embrace. True peace comes from within, not from external sources. When you let go of toxic relationships, you create space for healthier, more fulfilling connections to enter your life, ones that nurture rather than drain you. Stoicism also reminds us that life is fleeting and our time and energy are limited. Toxic relationships consume valuable resources that could be spent on more meaningful pursuits. Every moment spent in a relationship that harms your well-being is a moment you could be using to grow, learn, and live in accordance with your values. Letting go is not just about avoiding pain. It's about choosing to invest your time in relationships that enhance your life rather than deplete it. When we stay in toxic relationships, we also send a message to ourselves about our worth. Stoicism teaches that we should value ourselves and protect our peace. Allowing someone to treat us poorly, manipulate us, or take advantage of our kindness is a form of self-betrayal. Letting go is a declaration that you deserve better, that your time, energy, and emotions are valuable and should not be wasted on people who do not respect or appreciate you. It's important to recognize that letting go of toxic relationships does not mean you stop caring for the other person. Stoicism teaches us to cultivate compassion without attachment. You can still wish someone well, hope for their growth, and care about their well-being, while understanding that their presence in your life is no longer healthy. Letting go is not an act of abandonment, but an act of self-respect and personal responsibility. Often, toxic relationships are built on dependency. One person relies on the other for emotional, financial, or even psychological support, creating a dynamic where one person feels responsible for the other's happiness. Stoicism teaches that true happiness comes from within and cannot be dependent on others. By staying in a toxic relationship, you are not helping the other person. You are only enabling their dependence. Letting go allows both of you to grow independently, learning to find peace and contentment on your own. Letting go of toxic relationships also teaches us the importance of boundaries. Stoicism emphasizes the need to protect your inner peace, and boundaries are a vital tool in doing so. Toxic individuals often ignore or violate boundaries, pushing you beyond your limits and disregarding your needs. By letting go, you reinforce the importance of boundaries in your life, ensuring that you are not constantly sacrificing your well-being for someone else's demands. Stoicism encourages us to be mindful of the company we keep, as the people we surround ourselves with have a profound impact on our state of mind. Toxic relationships breed negativity, and over time, this can seep into your own thoughts, making it harder to maintain a positive outlook. Letting go of these relationships helps clear the mental clutter, allowing you to focus on what truly matters: your peace, your values, and your growth. The process of letting go is not without pain. Stoicism acknowledges that change, especially in relationships, can be difficult and emotionally taxing. However, the temporary discomfort of letting go is far outweighed by the long-term benefits of peace and emotional freedom. Stoicism teaches us to endure short-term pain for long-term gain, and this is especially true when it comes to toxic relationships. Another reason letting go of toxic relationships is essential is that they often lead to a cycle of resentment and frustration. When you stay in a relationship that harms you, resentment builds over time. This resentment not only affects your relationship with the other person, but also poisons your own emotional state. Letting go allows you to break free from this cycle, preventing further emotional damage and giving you the space to heal. Stoicism teaches us to practice acceptance, accepting what is beyond our control and focusing on what we can change. In toxic relationships, it's often tempting to try and change the other person, to fix them, or to hope they will improve. But Stoicism reminds us that we cannot control others. We can only control our own actions. Letting go is an act of acceptance, a recognition that the other person's behavior is beyond your control, and that staying in the relationship will not lead to positive change. Letting go also allows you to reclaim your sense of purpose. Toxic relationships often distract us from our true goals and values, pulling us into emotional drama and conflict. Stoicism teaches that we should live with intention, focusing on what truly matters and aligning our actions with our principles. By letting go, you free yourself from the distractions of a toxic relationship and can refocus on your purpose and the things that bring meaning to your life. Another valuable lesson from Stoicism is the concept of emotional independence. Toxic relationships often create a sense of emotional dependency, where your mood and sense of well-being are tied to the other person's behavior. Stoicism teaches that true peace comes from within and should not be dependent on others. Letting go of toxic relationships allows you to reclaim your emotional independence, learning to find contentment and stability within yourself rather than relying on someone else. Letting go of toxic relationships is also an act of forgiveness, not necessarily forgiveness of the other person, but forgiveness of yourself. It's easy to beat yourself up for staying in a harmful relationship, to feel guilt or shame for not leaving sooner. Stoicism teaches us to let go of past mistakes and focus on the present. By forgiving yourself for the choices you made in the past, you can move forward with clarity and peace. Toxic relationships often come with a great deal of emotional baggage. The longer you stay, the heavier that baggage becomes, weighing you down and making it harder to move forward. Stoicism teaches us to travel lightly through life, letting go of the things that burden us unnecessarily. By releasing toxic relationships, you shed the emotional baggage that has been holding you back, allowing you to move forward with a sense of lightness and freedom. One of the most powerful aspects of letting go is the opportunity for personal growth. Toxic relationships often stifle growth, keeping you stuck in negative patterns and limiting your potential. Stoicism teaches that adversity is an opportunity for growth, and letting go of a toxic relationship is no exception. It forces you to confront difficult emotions, to reevaluate your values, and to strengthen your commitment to living a virtuous life. Stoicism also reminds us that every ending is a beginning. Letting go of a toxic relationship may feel like a loss, but it is also an opportunity for new connections, new experiences, and new growth. By creating space in your life, you open the door for healthier relationships to enter, relationships that nurture your well-being and align with your values. It's important to remember that letting go of toxic relationships is not an act of selfishness. It is an act of self-care. Stoicism teaches that we must prioritize our own peace and well-being in order to live a life of virtue. By letting go, you are not only protecting yourself, but also allowing the other person the opportunity to grow independently. True growth often requires distance, and letting go can be the catalyst for positive change in both your life and theirs. The process of letting go also requires courage. It's easy to stay in a toxic relationship because it's familiar, even if it's painful. But Stoicism teaches us to face discomfort head-on, knowing that the path to peace is often paved with difficult choices. Letting go of a toxic relationship may be one of the hardest decisions you make, but it is also one of the most empowering. Letting go of toxic relationships also teaches us the importance of trust in ourselves and in the process of life. Stoicism teaches that we must have faith in our own ability to navigate difficult situations and trust that by letting go, we are making space for something better. This trust allows us to release the fear of the unknown and embrace the possibilities that come with change. Stoicism also encourages us to focus on the present moment. Toxic relationships often keep us trapped in the past, replaying old arguments, reliving past hurts, and holding on to grudges. Letting go allows you to free yourself from the weight of the past and fully embrace the present. It's a reminder that your peace and happiness are found in the here and now, not in the unresolved conflicts of yesterday. By letting go of toxic relationships, you also cultivate resilience. Stoicism teaches that life is full of challenges, and our ability to thrive depends on our resilience in the face of adversity. Letting go is a form of resilience. It's a refusal to allow someone else's negativity to control your life. It's a decision to protect your peace, no matter how difficult the process may be. In the end, letting go of toxic relationships is an act of self-love. Stoicism teaches that we must treat ourselves with the same care and respect that we offer to others. By letting go, you honor your own worth and make a powerful statement that your peace, your growth, and your well-being are non-negotiable. As you let go of toxic relationships, there's another profound lesson waiting to be embraced: the power of indifference. Stoicism teaches us that true freedom comes not from controlling external events, but from mastering our reactions to them. Indifference, in the Stoic sense, is not about caring less, but about caring wisely. It's about understanding what truly matters and releasing the grip on things that do not. This concept of non-attachment liberates us from unnecessary suffering, giving us the strength to face life with clarity and calm. Indifference is often misunderstood. Many people associate it with apathy or detachment from emotions, but in Stoicism, indifference is about focusing on what's within your control and releasing your emotional attachment to what is not. This doesn't mean you stop caring about life or people. Rather, you stop investing your peace and happiness in things that are outside of your influence. It's a shift in perspective that allows you to live with more serenity and less emotional turmoil. Indifference also frees you from the exhausting need for approval. So often, people become trapped in seeking validation from others, constantly adjusting their behavior to meet external expectations. Stoicism teaches that the opinions of others are outside your control and therefore not worth attaching your happiness to. By practicing indifference toward the judgment of others, you liberate yourself from the emotional roller coaster of approval and rejection, allowing you to live more authentically. This sense of freedom extends to material possessions as well. In a world that places so much emphasis on wealth, status, and success, it's easy to become attached to the idea that material goods define your worth. Stoic indifference reminds us that possessions are transient. They can be gained or lost in an instant. By adopting a mindset of non-attachment, you can enjoy the things you have without becoming enslaved by the fear of losing them. This frees you from the anxiety of constantly trying to acquire more and instead allows you to focus on what truly matters, your character and actions. Indifference also plays a crucial role in managing your emotions. Stoicism teaches that while emotions are natural, we have the ability to control how we respond to them. Non-attachment helps you observe your emotions without being overwhelmed by them. Whether it's anger, sadness, or fear, indifference allows you to acknowledge these feelings without letting them dictate your actions. This creates a sense of emotional resilience, enabling you to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and composure. Another key benefit of indifference is that it helps you maintain perspective. So often, people become consumed by minor setbacks or challenges, allowing them to cloud their judgment and dominate their thoughts. Stoicism teaches that many of the things we worry about are insignificant in the grand scheme of life. By practicing indifference, you can step back and assess situations more objectively, seeing them for what they truly are, rather than what your emotions make them out to be. Indifference also helps you avoid the trap of over-attachment to outcomes. In life, we often set goals and work hard to achieve them, but Stoicism teaches that the outcome is not always in our control. By focusing on the effort and process rather than the result, you can free yourself from the disappointment or frustration that comes when things don't go as planned. Non-attachment to outcomes allows you to embrace life with a sense of curiosity and openness, knowing that no matter what happens, you will be at peace. Relationships are another area where Stoic indifference can bring immense freedom. Often people become overly attached to the idea of how others should behave or feel, leading to disappointment when reality doesn't align with expectations. Indifference teaches us to accept others as they are, without trying to mold them to fit our desires. This doesn't mean you stop caring about the people in your life, but rather, you stop attaching your happiness to their actions. By practicing indifference, you can maintain healthier, more balanced relationships, free from the constant pressure of unmet expectations. Indifference also protects you from the emotional drain of constant comparison. In a world where social media and societal pressures push us to compare our lives to others, it's easy to feel inadequate or dissatisfied. Stoicism reminds us that each person's path is unique, and comparing ourselves to others only distracts from our own journey. By practicing indifference toward what others are doing or achieving, you can focus on your own progress and live in alignment with your values, rather than chasing someone else's definition of success. One of the most empowering aspects of indifference is that it allows you to face adversity with strength. Life will inevitably throw challenges your way, whether it's the loss of a loved one, a career setback, or personal struggles. Stoicism teaches that suffering comes not from the event itself, but from your attachment to how you think things should be. By practicing indifference, you can face adversity without being consumed by it, accepting what is and focusing on how to move forward. Indifference also offers freedom from the need for control. Many people spend their lives trying to control every aspect of their existence, from their environment to the behavior of others. But Stoicism teaches that control is an illusion. There are far more things outside of your influence than within it. By practicing indifference, you let go of the need to control everything, freeing yourself from the anxiety and frustration that come with trying to manage the unmanageable. This creates space for peace and acceptance, no matter what life throws your way. Non-attachment also helps you cultivate gratitude. When you stop clinging to outcomes, possessions, or people, you can more fully appreciate the present moment for what it is. Stoicism encourages us to practice gratitude for what we have, rather than constantly striving for more. By being indifferent to what you don't have, you can find contentment in the here and now, recognizing the abundance that already exists in your life. Another powerful effect of indifference is that it allows you to focus on your actions rather than external rewards. So often, people are driven by the desire for recognition, praise, or material gain. Stoicism teaches that the only thing you truly control is your own behavior, and that should be your focus. By practicing indifference toward external rewards, you can act with integrity and purpose, knowing that your worth is not determined by outside validation. Indifference also helps you maintain your dignity in the face of criticism. In life, there will always be people who judge, criticize, or misunderstand you. Stoicism teaches that the opinions of others are outside your control and therefore not worth attaching your peace to. By practicing indifference toward criticism, you protect your sense of self-worth, allowing you to stay true to your values regardless of what others think. Another essential lesson of Stoic indifference is that it helps you let go of the past. Many people become trapped in regret, replaying old mistakes or missed opportunities. Stoicism teaches that the past is beyond your control, and holding on to it only causes suffering. By practicing indifference toward what cannot be changed, you free yourself to live fully in the present, without the weight of the past holding you back. Indifference also teaches you to let go of the fear of the future. So much of human anxiety comes from worrying about what might happen, fearing the unknown, or dreading potential outcomes. Stoicism reminds us that the future is also beyond our control, and worrying about it only robs us of the present moment. By practicing indifference toward the future, you can focus on what you can do today, trusting that whatever comes, you will be able to handle it with grace and resilience. Indifference also allows you to break free from the emotional highs and lows that come with attachment. Whether it's the elation of success or the despair of failure, Stoicism teaches that neither extreme should dictate your emotional state. By practicing indifference, you maintain a sense of balance and stability, allowing you to navigate life's fluctuations with a steady mind and heart. This doesn't mean you don't feel joy or sadness, but rather that you don't let these emotions control your sense of peace. Stoic indifference also helps you find freedom in simplicity. In a world that often encourages excess and overindulgence, it's easy to become attached to material goods, status, or luxury. Stoicism teaches that true happiness comes not from accumulating more, but from needing less. By practicing indifference toward unnecessary desires, you can cultivate a life of simplicity and contentment, free from the constant pursuit of more. Indifference also helps you cultivate resilience in the face of rejection. Whether it's a personal relationship, a job opportunity, or a creative endeavor, rejection is an inevitable part of life. Stoicism teaches that rejection is simply a reflection of external circumstances and not a measure of your worth. By practicing indifference toward rejection, you can maintain your confidence and self-esteem, knowing that your value is not determined by the opinions or decisions of others. Another benefit of Stoic indifference is that it helps you focus on what truly matters. In a world filled with distractions, it's easy to become consumed by trivial matters, whether it's gossip, social media, or superficial concerns. Stoicism teaches that life is too short to waste on things that do not contribute to your growth or well-being. By practicing indifference toward distractions, you can focus your time and energy on what is meaningful and important, living a life of purpose and intention. Indifference also allows you to embrace uncertainty. Life is full of unknowns, and the desire for certainty often leads to anxiety and frustration. Stoicism teaches that uncertainty is a natural part of life, and by practicing indifference, you can learn to live with it rather than resist it. This creates a sense of freedom, allowing you to move through life with a sense of openness and curiosity rather than fear of the unknown. Indifference also helps you find peace in failure. Many people fear failure because they attach their worth to their achievements, but Stoicism teaches that failure is simply a part of life, a necessary step on the path to growth. By practicing indifference toward failure, you can embrace it as a learning opportunity rather than a reflection of your value. This allows you to take risks, try new things, and grow without the fear of falling short. Another lesson of Stoic indifference is that it helps you detach from the need for perfection. So many people strive for perfection, believing that only by being flawless can they find happiness or success. Stoicism teaches that perfection is an illusion. No one is without flaws, and trying to attain perfection only leads to frustration. By practicing indifference toward perfection, you can accept yourself as you are, embracing your strengths and weaknesses with compassion. Indifference also allows you to let go of grudges. Holding on to anger or resentment toward others only weighs you down, creating emotional turmoil. Stoicism teaches that forgiveness is an act of freeing yourself from the past. By practicing indifference toward the actions of others, you can release the emotional burden of holding on to grievances, allowing yourself to move forward with peace and clarity. Stoic indifference also helps you cultivate a sense of calm in the face of conflict. Whether it's a disagreement with a friend, a family member, or a colleague, conflict is a natural part of life. Stoicism teaches that you cannot control how others react, but you can control your own response. By practicing indifference toward the outcome of the conflict, you can approach it with a level-headed perspective, focusing on resolution rather than emotional escalation. Indifference also teaches you to let go of the need for fairness. Life is not always fair, and the pursuit of fairness can often lead to frustration and disappointment. Stoicism teaches that fairness is an ideal, not a guarantee. By practicing indifference toward the unfairness of life, you can accept situations as they are, rather than becoming consumed by the desire for justice in every circumstance. One of the most powerful aspects of indifference is that it allows you to live without fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. These are all attachments that limit your potential. Stoicism teaches that fear is often based on things beyond your control, and by practicing indifference, you can free yourself from these limitations. This doesn't mean you stop feeling fear, but rather that you stop allowing it to dictate your choices. Stoic indifference also teaches you to let go of the need for control over others. Many people spend their lives trying to influence or change the behavior of those around them, believing that this will bring them peace. But Stoicism teaches that the only person you can control is yourself. By practicing indifference toward the actions of others, you free yourself from the frustration of trying to change what cannot be changed. Indifference allows you to live with a sense of acceptance. Stoicism teaches that life is full of events and circumstances that are beyond your control. By practicing indifference, you learn to accept these events with grace, knowing that your peace and happiness are not dependent on external factors. This acceptance creates a deep sense of freedom, allowing you to move through life with a steady heart and a calm mind, no matter what comes your way. As we master the power of Stoic indifference, another crucial skill emerges: recognizing those who do not have our best interests at heart. Manipulators often hide behind masks of kindness or concern, using subtle tactics to control and deceive. Stoicism, with its emphasis on clarity of mind and emotional detachment, gives us the tools to see through these illusions. By sharpening our awareness and strengthening our boundaries, we can protect ourselves from those who seek to exploit our good nature. Manipulation often begins with small, seemingly harmless actions. The manipulator knows how to present themselves in a favorable light, creating an image of trust and friendship. But Stoicism teaches us to look beyond surface appearances and evaluate people based on their true character, not just their words. By practicing mindfulness and staying alert to inconsistencies in behavior, we can start to identify when someone's intentions may not be as genuine as they seem. One of the most common tactics manipulators use is flattery. They shower you with compliments, not because they truly appreciate you, but because they want something in return. Stoicism helps you detach from the emotional pull of praise, allowing you to see it for what it is, a tool that some people use to get what they want. When you are not swayed by flattery, you become less vulnerable to those who try to manipulate through excessive praise. Another way manipulators gain control is through guilt. They make you feel responsible for their well-being or their problems, using your compassion against you. Stoicism teaches that each person is responsible for their own actions and emotions. By embracing this principle, you can resist the guilt trips that manipulators rely on to get you to do their bidding. You are not obligated to take on burdens that aren't yours to carry. Manipulators also thrive on creating a sense of obligation. They may do favors or offer help, but there is always an unspoken expectation that you will owe them something in return. Stoicism teaches us to be cautious of relationships that come with strings attached. True kindness expects nothing in return, and any help offered with an ulterior motive is a form of manipulation. By practicing discernment, you can avoid becoming entangled in these webs of obligation. Another sign of manipulation is inconsistency in behavior. Manipulators often switch between kindness and coldness, creating confusion and keeping you off balance. Stoicism teaches the value of consistency and stability in relationships. If someone's behavior is erratic and leaves you constantly questioning their intentions, it's a red flag that they may be trying to manipulate your emotions. Pay attention to these shifts and don't allow them to dictate your emotional state. Stoicism also helps you recognize the manipulator's tendency to play the victim. These individuals often position themselves as helpless or oppressed, seeking your sympathy to draw you into their problems. While compassion is a noble quality, Stoicism teaches us to be discerning in how we apply it. Not every cry for help is genuine, and some people use their victimhood as a way to control those around them. It's important to maintain your emotional detachment and assess whether their situation truly requires your involvement. Manipulators often use passive-aggressive behavior to avoid direct confrontation while still trying to control a situation. They may express anger or disappointment in subtle ways, leaving you to guess what's wrong. Stoicism teaches the importance of clear, honest communication. If someone is consistently passive-aggressive, they are not engaging with you in a healthy, direct manner. Recognizing this behavior allows you to step back and avoid being drawn into their emotional games. Another tactic manipulators use is creating confusion or twisting facts. They may change their story, deny things they previously said, or reinterpret events in ways that make you doubt your own memory. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of clarity and truth. By staying grounded in your own perception of reality and refusing to be swayed by manipulation, you can protect yourself from those who try to distort the truth for their own gain. Gaslighting is a particularly insidious form of manipulation, where the manipulator makes you question your own sanity or judgment. They may deny things that happened, blame you for problems they caused, or downplay your emotions as irrational. Stoicism teaches us to trust in our own reason and judgment. When faced with gaslighting, it's essential to remain anchored in your own reality and not allow someone else to distort your sense of self. This requires a strong commitment to truth and self-awareness. Another red flag of manipulation is when someone tries to isolate you from others. Manipulators often seek to cut you off from friends or family, making you more dependent on them. Stoicism teaches the importance of independence and self-reliance. If someone is encouraging you to distance yourself from other people who care about you, it's a sign that they are trying to control your environment. Maintaining healthy, balanced relationships outside of the manipulator's influence is crucial to resisting this tactic. Stoicism also helps you recognize when someone is using emotional blackmail. Manipulators may threaten to withdraw love, affection, or approval unless you comply with their demands. This form of control is particularly powerful because it plays on your fear of losing the relationship. However, Stoicism teaches that true relationships are built on mutual respect, not on control or coercion. By recognizing emotional blackmail for what it is, you can detach yourself from its power. Manipulators are often skilled at making you feel inadequate or dependent on their approval. They may subtly undermine your confidence or suggest that you can't succeed without their help. Stoicism teaches that your worth is intrinsic and not dependent on the opinions of others. By cultivating self-reliance and inner strength, you can break free from the manipulator's hold and recognize that you do not need their validation to thrive. Another common trait of manipulators is their tendency to shift blame. No matter what happens, it's never their fault. They may twist situations to make you feel responsible for their mistakes or shortcomings. Stoicism teaches personal responsibility and encourages us to own our actions and decisions. When someone consistently avoids accountability, it's a sign that they are manipulating the situation to avoid facing the consequences of their behavior. Manipulators also use the tactic of triangulation, where they involve a third party to create conflict or exert pressure. This could involve gossiping about you to others or bringing someone else into a disagreement to shift the dynamics in their favor. Stoicism teaches us to stay focused on the truth and not be swayed by external distractions. By recognizing triangulation for what it is, you can stay grounded and refuse to be drawn into unnecessary drama. Another subtle form of manipulation is the use of silence or withdrawal as punishment. Manipulators may give you the silent treatment or withdraw affection when they don't get their way, leaving you to feel anxious or desperate to make things right. Stoicism teaches emotional detachment and the importance of maintaining your own peace. If someone uses silence as a weapon, it's a sign that they are trying to manipulate your emotions rather than communicate openly. By refusing to engage in this dynamic, you reclaim your emotional power. Manipulators often try to create a sense of urgency or crisis, pressuring you to make decisions quickly before you have time to think. This tactic is designed to prevent you from considering all your options or seeing the situation clearly. Stoicism teaches the importance of deliberation and thoughtful action. When someone pressures you into making a hasty decision, take a step back and give yourself the time and space to reflect. Refuse to be rushed into choices that may not be in your best interest. Stoicism also helps you recognize when someone is using fear to control you. Manipulators often exaggerate risks or threats, making you feel as though you have no choice but to comply with their demands. By practicing indifference to external pressures and focusing on what you can control, you can resist this tactic. Fear is a powerful tool of manipulation, but Stoicism teaches us that most fears are illusions, created to keep us from living freely. Another tactic of manipulators is playing on your sense of loyalty. They may remind you of past favors, shared experiences, or personal connections to make you feel obligated to them. Stoicism teaches that true loyalty is not about blind obligation, but about mutual respect and alignment of values. If someone is using your loyalty against you, it's a sign that they are not acting in your best interest. You have the right to reassess relationships that no longer serve you, regardless of past connections. Manipulators often use charm and charisma to win people over. They can be incredibly likable, making it difficult to see their true intentions. Stoicism teaches the importance of looking beyond superficial qualities and evaluating people based on their actions and character. Charm may be appealing, but it can also be a mask for deeper manipulative tendencies. By staying grounded in Stoic principles, you can see through the facade and recognize when someone's charm is being used as a tool for manipulation. Another form of manipulation is the use of sympathy to control others. Manipulators may constantly present themselves as the victim, seeking your sympathy to gain power over you. Stoicism teaches us to be compassionate, but also to recognize when our compassion is being exploited. Not every sob story is a cry for genuine help. Some are carefully crafted to manipulate your emotions. By practicing discernment, you can offer support without being pulled into the manipulator's web. Manipulators often create a false sense of scarcity, making you believe that opportunities, affection, or resources are limited, and that you must act quickly or lose out. This tactic is designed to create pressure and control. Stoicism teaches us that abundance comes from within, and that external circumstances are not the source of true happiness. When someone creates artificial scarcity, it's a sign that they are trying to manipulate your sense of urgency. Recognizing this tactic allows you to stay calm and make decisions based on reason, not fear. Another key to recognizing manipulation is understanding the manipulator's need for control. Manipulators often thrive on controlling the narrative, the situation, and the people around them. Stoicism teaches the importance of autonomy and personal freedom. If you notice that someone is constantly trying to control your actions, decisions, or emotions, it's a red flag that they are engaging in manipulative behavior. By standing firm in your own values and refusing to be controlled, you protect your freedom. Stoicism also helps you recognize when someone is using distraction as a manipulation tool. Manipulators often divert attention away from their own actions by focusing on irrelevant details or shifting the conversation to something else. This tactic is designed to prevent you from seeing the truth. By practicing mindfulness and staying focused on the core issue, you can avoid being sidetracked by these distractions and keep the manipulator from controlling the narrative. Manipulators often use the tactic of love bombing to gain control. They overwhelm you with attention, affection, and praise, creating an intense bond that makes it difficult for you to see their true intentions. Stoicism teaches the importance of moderation and emotional balance. When someone's behavior feels too intense or too good to be true, it's important to step back and assess whether they are trying to manipulate your emotions. Genuine relationships are built on steady, consistent effort, not on overwhelming displays of affection. Another sign of manipulation is when someone constantly demands your time and energy without regard for your needs or boundaries. Stoicism teaches that your time and energy are valuable, and it's essential to protect them. If someone is constantly draining your resources without giving anything in return, it's a sign that they are using you for their own benefit. By setting clear boundaries and refusing to be exploited, you reclaim your power and protect your well-being. Manipulators also use the tactic of making you doubt yourself. They may question your decisions, undermine your confidence, or suggest that you are not capable of making the right choices. Stoicism teaches the importance of trusting your own judgment and not relying on the opinions of others for validation. When someone tries to make you doubt yourself, it's a sign that they are trying to control your behavior. By staying grounded in your own reason and values, you can resist this form of manipulation. Stoicism also helps you recognize when someone is using power dynamics to manipulate you. Manipulators often position themselves as authority figures, using their status or influence to control others. Stoicism teaches that true authority comes from wisdom and virtue, not from external titles or positions. If someone is using their power to control or manipulate you, it's a sign that they are not acting in alignment with Stoic principles. By standing firm in your own values, you can resist being controlled by external power dynamics. Stoicism helps you recognize when it's time to walk away. Manipulators thrive on maintaining control, but Stoicism teaches that you have the power to remove yourself from any situation that no longer serves your well-being. By recognizing the signs of manipulation and trusting in your own judgment, you can protect yourself from those who seek to exploit your kindness and reclaim your emotional freedom. As we sharpen our ability to recognize hidden manipulators, a new challenge comes into view: narcissists. Narcissists are masters at centering everything around themselves, making others feel insignificant or responsible for their well-being. Dealing with these individuals can drain your energy and disrupt your peace, but Stoicism provides the tools to protect yourself without being drawn into their web of self-absorption. The Stoic approach to handling narcissists is not about confrontation, but about maintaining your composure and peace, even in the face of their ego-driven tactics. Narcissists thrive on attention and validation, often manipulating those around them to fulfill their constant need for admiration. Stoicism teaches that we should not feed into this need. By practicing emotional detachment, we can avoid falling into the trap of giving them the praise they crave. This doesn't mean you become cold or dismissive, but rather that you stop allowing their demands for attention to dictate your behavior. When you withhold the validation they seek, you reclaim control over the interaction. One of the key principles of Stoicism is recognizing what is within your control and what is not. When dealing with narcissists, it's essential to remember that their behavior is beyond your influence. You cannot change their need for attention, nor can you alter their inflated sense of self-importance. What you can control is your response to them. By focusing on your own actions and reactions, you free yourself from the frustration of trying to manage their ego-driven behavior. Narcissists often use manipulation to make others feel responsible for their emotions. They may play the victim, blame you for their problems, or expect you to cater to their needs. Stoicism teaches that each person is responsible for their own emotions and well-being. By internalizing this lesson, you can resist the pull of a narcissist's emotional manipulation. You are not responsible for making them feel better or for managing their emotions. This clarity protects you from being drawn into their emotional drama. Stoicism also encourages us to practice indifference to things that do not contribute to our growth or well-being. Narcissists often create drama and conflict to keep themselves at the center of attention. By practicing indifference to their attempts to stir up conflict, you protect your peace. You don't need to engage in their arguments or get caught up in their emotional games. Instead, you can choose to remain calm and detached, refusing to let their behavior disrupt your inner balance. Narcissists often seek to dominate conversations and relationships, making everything about themselves. Stoicism teaches the value of balance and reciprocity in relationships. When you encounter a narcissist who constantly seeks to dominate the dynamic, it's essential to maintain your boundaries. You don't need to submit to their need for control, nor do you need to fight for attention. By calmly asserting your boundaries and refusing to play into their ego-driven behavior, you maintain your dignity and self-respect. One of the most powerful tools Stoicism offers in dealing with narcissists is the ability to detach from praise and criticism. Narcissists often use both to manipulate those around them, lavishing praise when they want something and withdrawing it when they don't get their way. By practicing indifference to both praise and criticism, you prevent the narcissist from controlling your emotions. You remain steady, knowing that your worth is not determined by their shifting opinions. Narcissists are skilled at shifting blame onto others, making it difficult for those around them to hold them accountable. Stoicism teaches the importance of taking responsibility for your own actions while recognizing that others are responsible for theirs. When dealing with a narcissist, it's crucial to avoid getting caught up in their blame-shifting tactics. Stay grounded in the truth of your actions and refuse to accept responsibility for their mistakes or emotional outbursts. This protects your sense of self-worth and prevents you from becoming entangled in their web of deflection. Another key to dealing with narcissists is maintaining emotional distance. Narcissists thrive on emotional reactions, whether positive or negative. They seek to provoke strong responses because it reinforces their sense of importance. Stoicism teaches that you have the power to choose how you respond to others. By practicing emotional detachment, you can engage with a narcissist without becoming emotionally involved in their drama. This allows you to maintain control over the situation and protect your peace. Narcissists often use guilt as a tool to manipulate those around them, making others feel responsible for their happiness or success. Stoicism reminds us that guilt is an emotion tied to things we believe we have done wrong. If a narcissist tries to make you feel guilty for not meeting their demands or for prioritizing your own well-being, it's important to examine whether that guilt is justified. More often than not, it's a tactic designed to manipulate. By practicing self-awareness and emotional clarity, you can reject false guilt and stay focused on your own values. Another tactic narcissists use is creating a sense of dependency, making you believe that you need them more than they need you. Stoicism teaches self-reliance and independence. When you recognize that your happiness, success, and well-being do not depend on the approval or presence of a narcissist, you free yourself from their influence. This realization empowers you to set boundaries and walk away from interactions that do not serve your peace. Stoicism also teaches the importance of choosing your battles wisely. Narcissists often provoke arguments or conflicts to assert their dominance or control. Engaging in these battles rarely leads to resolution. It only feeds their need for attention. By practicing discernment, you can decide when it's worth addressing an issue and when it's better to remain silent and let the narcissist's words pass by without reaction. This preserves your energy and prevents unnecessary conflict. Another powerful lesson from Stoicism is the art of silence. Narcissists often dominate conversations, seeking to fill every space with their own voice. By practicing the Stoic technique of silence, you can create a pause in the conversation, giving yourself time to think and assess the situation. Silence can also disarm a narcissist, as they rely on constant engagement to maintain their control. When you choose not to respond immediately, you take back your power and create space for clarity. Narcissists often seek to create a sense of chaos or confusion in relationships, keeping others off balance and dependent on them for direction. Stoicism teaches the value of order and reason. By staying grounded in logic and clear thinking, you can resist being pulled into the narcissist's chaos. Focus on what makes sense, stay true to your principles, and don't allow their manipulative tactics to cloud your judgment. One of the most challenging aspects of dealing with narcissists is their ability to make you question your own reality. Through gaslighting and other manipulative behaviors, they can make you doubt your perceptions and feelings. Stoicism teaches the importance of self-trust and inner wisdom. When you are confident in your own sense of reality and your ability to reason, you become less vulnerable to their attempts to distort the truth. Trusting your own perceptions is key to maintaining your sense of peace in the face of narcissistic manipulation. Narcissists often present themselves as the center of their universe, expecting others to orbit around them. Stoicism teaches that we should not be swayed by the expectations of others, especially when those expectations are unreasonable. By setting clear boundaries and refusing to be pulled into the narcissist's self-centered world, you protect your own peace. You are not required to meet their constant demands for attention, and by standing firm, you regain control over your own time and energy. Another lesson from Stoicism that applies to dealing with narcissists is the idea of focusing on what truly matters. Narcissists often create distractions, pulling others into trivial or exaggerated issues to keep the spotlight on themselves. Stoicism teaches that we should focus on the things that align with our values and contribute to our growth. When faced with a narcissist's distractions, ask yourself whether engaging in their drama serves your higher purpose. More often than not, the answer will be no. Stoicism also teaches the importance of cultivating inner strength. Narcissists often prey on those they perceive as weak or easy to manipulate. By developing emotional resilience and self-confidence, you make yourself less vulnerable to their tactics. When you know your own worth and trust in your ability to navigate challenges, the narcissist's attempts to control or undermine you lose their power. You become a solid, immovable force in the face of their ego-driven behavior. Narcissists often use love bombing as a tactic to draw people in, overwhelming them with affection and attention at the beginning of a relationship. This is designed to create a sense of dependency, making you feel special and valued, only for the narcissist to later withdraw that affection as a form of control. Stoicism teaches that true love and respect are steady and consistent, not tied to manipulative highs and lows. By recognizing the difference between genuine care and love bombing, you can protect yourself from being drawn into the narcissist's emotional roller coaster. Another way narcissists manipulate is through triangulation, involving a third party to create competition or jealousy. This tactic is designed to make you feel insecure and more dependent on the narcissist's approval. Stoicism teaches that your worth is not dependent on external validation or competition with others. By refusing to engage in the narcissist's games and focusing on your own sense of value, you can maintain your peace and resist their attempts to create division. Narcissists often seek to erode your self-esteem, making you feel small or insignificant in comparison to their grandiose sense of self. Stoicism teaches that your value is inherent and not dependent on anyone else's opinion. By cultivating self-respect and confidence in your own worth, you can protect yourself from the narcissist's attempts to diminish you. This self-assurance acts as a shield, preventing their words or actions from shaking your sense of identity. Another powerful tool in the Stoic approach to dealing with narcissists is the ability to stay focused on the present moment. Narcissists often try to keep others trapped in the past or worrying about the future, whether by bringing up past mistakes or creating anxiety about future consequences. Stoicism teaches that the only time we truly have control over is the present. By staying grounded in the here and now, you can resist being pulled into the narcissist's attempts to manipulate your thoughts or emotions about the past or future. Narcissists are often skilled at creating a sense of urgency, making you feel like you need to act quickly or else face negative consequences. This tactic is designed to prevent you from thinking clearly and making decisions that align with your values. Stoicism teaches the importance of patience and thoughtful deliberation. When faced with a narcissist's pressure tactics, take a step back and give yourself time to reflect. Refuse to be rushed into decisions that serve their interests rather than your own. Another key to dealing with narcissists is recognizing their need for control. Narcissists often try to dictate how others should feel, act, or respond in any given situation. Stoicism teaches that true freedom comes from self-mastery, not from controlling others. By focusing on controlling your own reactions and emotions, you take back your power from the narcissist. You are no longer subject to their attempts to control your behavior, and you can navigate interactions with a sense of calm and confidence. Stoicism also reminds us that not every battle needs to be fought. Narcissists often thrive on conflict, using it as a way to assert dominance or keep others off balance. By practicing discernment, you can choose which issues are worth addressing and which are better left alone. Engaging in every conflict only fuels the narcissist's need for attention. Instead, focus on preserving your energy for the battles that truly matter, and let the rest pass without reaction. Another tactic narcissists use is shifting the blame for their behavior onto others, often making you feel responsible for their actions or emotions. Stoicism teaches that each person is accountable for their own choices. By refusing to accept responsibility for the narcissist's behavior, you maintain your sense of autonomy and protect your peace. You are not responsible for their actions, and by standing firm in this truth, you resist their attempts to manipulate you through guilt or blame. Narcissists often thrive on chaos, creating a sense of instability in their relationships to keep others dependent on them. Stoicism teaches the value of order and stability. By maintaining a sense of inner calm and structure in your life, you can resist being pulled into the narcissist's chaos. This stability acts as a buffer, protecting you from the emotional turbulence they try to create and allowing you to stay grounded in your own sense of peace. One of the most empowering lessons Stoicism offers when dealing with narcissists is the reminder that you have the power to walk away. Narcissists often make others feel trapped in the relationship, using manipulation or fear to keep them engaged. But Stoicism teaches that true freedom lies in recognizing that you always have a choice. If the narcissist's behavior becomes too damaging or disruptive to your peace, you can choose to distance yourself or end the relationship entirely. Dealing with narcissists requires emotional resilience, and Stoicism provides the tools to cultivate this strength. By practicing emotional detachment, setting boundaries, and refusing to engage in their manipulative tactics, you protect your peace and preserve your well-being. The Stoic approach is not about changing the narcissist. It's about changing how you respond to them. With clarity, self-respect, and emotional resilience, you can navigate these challenging relationships while maintaining your inner calm. As you strengthen your boundaries against narcissists and protect your peace, a deeper question arises. How do you cultivate the self-respect needed to stand firm in your values and remain unshaken by external forces? Stoicism offers profound wisdom on how to build self-respect, guiding us to recognize our inherent value and live in alignment with our principles. True respect for oneself is not dependent on the approval of others, but emerges from a deep understanding of our worth and the choices we make daily. It's time to explore how Stoicism teaches us to truly value ourselves and embody this respect in every aspect of life. Self-respect begins with understanding that your worth is intrinsic. It does not come from external validation or the opinions of others. Stoicism teaches that who you are is shaped by your character and how you choose to act, rather than how others perceive you. When you grasp this, you stop seeking approval outside of yourself. Your value is not measured by praise, success, or social status, but by how faithfully you live according to your values and principles. A core tenet of Stoicism is the idea that external circumstances are beyond our control, while our thoughts and actions are within our power. This understanding is key to cultivating self-respect. When you focus on controlling your behavior and thoughts, you realize that self-respect is built from within. Each time you act in alignment with your principles, you affirm your own worth. This steady practice of living in integrity strengthens the foundation of self-respect. Another important aspect of self-respect is learning to set boundaries. Stoicism teaches that maintaining your peace and well-being requires saying no to behaviors, people, or situations that conflict with your values. When you set boundaries, you are affirming that your time, energy, and emotions are valuable. You protect these resources not out of selfishness, but out of respect for yourself and what you stand for. This refusal to be treated poorly or drawn into unnecessary drama is an act of self-care. Self-respect also grows from the practice of accountability. Stoicism teaches that we are responsible for our actions and their consequences. Owning your mistakes, learning from them, and taking steps to improve fosters a sense of personal responsibility and strengthens your self-respect. When you hold yourself accountable, you show that you respect yourself enough to take your growth seriously. You acknowledge your imperfections, but rather than being defined by them, you use them as a stepping stone to become better. Stoicism encourages us to practice discipline and self-control, two essential elements of self-respect. Discipline is about choosing the hard but right path over the easy but wrong one. Each time you practice discipline, whether in your habits, reactions, or goals, you reinforce the belief that you are capable of making wise, intentional choices. This consistency in doing what's right, even when it's difficult, builds respect for yourself and your abilities. Another key lesson from Stoicism is the importance of self-reliance. To truly respect yourself, you must learn to depend on your own inner strength rather than seeking constant reassurance from others. Stoicism teaches that true freedom comes from self-sufficiency, when you trust in your ability to handle life's challenges without needing external validation or support. This confidence in your own resilience is a cornerstone of self-respect, as it reinforces your sense of autonomy and capability. Self-respect also involves being kind to yourself. Stoicism teaches that while we should strive for self-improvement, we should not be overly harsh or critical of ourselves. Just as you would show compassion to a friend who is struggling, you must extend that same compassion to yourself. Self-respect grows when you allow yourself room to make mistakes, learn, and grow without tearing yourself down in the process. This balanced approach to self-improvement fosters a healthy sense of respect for your own journey. An important part of cultivating self-respect is recognizing that your value does not depend on what you accomplish or achieve. Stoicism teaches that the pursuit of external success can lead to disappointment if it becomes the source of your self-worth. Instead, your worth should come from your inner character, how you handle challenges, treat others, and live in alignment with your values. When you shift your focus from external achievements to internal growth, you strengthen your self-respect by grounding it in something that cannot be taken away. Stoicism also teaches us to accept ourselves as we are, without constantly seeking to become something we're not. Self-respect comes from recognizing that you are already complete and valuable as you are, while still striving to grow and improve. This doesn't mean you settle for mediocrity, but rather that you respect your own unique journey and acknowledge your progress. By accepting your strengths and weaknesses, you foster a sense of wholeness that is the foundation of true self-respect. Self-respect also involves choosing to live with purpose. Stoicism teaches that we should strive to live in alignment with our higher purpose, rather than being swayed by fleeting desires or external distractions. When you commit to living a life of meaning and purpose, you demonstrate respect for your time and energy. Each choice you make with intention strengthens your sense of self-worth, as you see yourself as someone who is capable of making meaningful contributions to the world. Another way Stoicism helps us cultivate self-respect is by teaching us to let go of comparison. It's easy to fall into the trap of measuring your worth against others, whether in terms of achievements, appearance, or social status. Stoicism reminds us that everyone's path is unique, and comparing yourself to others only leads to unnecessary frustration. By focusing on your own progress and growth, rather than trying to measure up to someone else's standards, you build a sense of respect for your own journey and individuality. A key element of self-respect is learning to say no. Stoicism teaches that we must protect our time and energy by not overcommitting or saying yes to things that do not serve our values or goals. Each time you set a boundary and say no to something that doesn't align with your purpose, you affirm that your time and priorities are important. This practice of guarding your resources with intention is a powerful way to cultivate respect for yourself and your goals. Stoicism also encourages us to practice patience with ourselves. Self-respect doesn't come from rushing through life or constantly pushing yourself to achieve more. It comes from understanding that growth takes time and that each step forward, no matter how small, is valuable. When you are patient with your own progress and trust the process of becoming, you show yourself the respect you deserve by not expecting perfection overnight. A major component of self-respect is how you treat your body and mind. Stoicism teaches that we must care for ourselves physically, mentally, and emotionally in order to live a balanced life. When you prioritize your health and well-being, you show that you respect yourself enough to take care of the vessel that carries you through life. This means making choices that support your long-term health, whether it's through exercise, rest, or nourishing your mind with positive and constructive thoughts. Another important aspect of self-respect is the ability to forgive yourself. Stoicism teaches that holding on to past mistakes or regrets only hinders your growth. By practicing forgiveness toward yourself, you free yourself from the weight of the past and allow room for growth. This act of self-compassion is crucial for building self-respect, as it shows that you are not defined by your past errors, but by how you choose to move forward. Self-respect also means standing up for yourself when necessary. Stoicism teaches the importance of maintaining your dignity and not allowing others to treat you with disrespect. When you stand up for yourself in situations where your values or boundaries are being challenged, you affirm your worth. This doesn't mean you need to engage in conflict or be aggressive, but rather that you assert your right to be treated with respect and do not tolerate behaviors that undermine your self-worth. Another lesson Stoicism offers on self-respect is the idea of detaching from the need for external validation. It's natural to want recognition for your efforts, but Stoicism teaches that true self-respect comes from within. When you stop seeking approval from others and instead focus on living in alignment with your own principles, you cultivate a sense of self-worth that is unshakable. This inner validation is far more lasting and fulfilling than any external praise could ever be. Stoicism also teaches the value of perseverance, even in the face of adversity. Self-respect grows when you continue to pursue your goals, despite setbacks or challenges. Each time you push through difficulty and stay committed to your values, you build confidence in your ability to overcome obstacles. This resilience is a key part of self-respect, as it shows that you believe in your own strength and capability to handle whatever life throws your way. Another important aspect of self-respect is knowing your worth in relationships. Stoicism teaches that relationships should be built on mutual respect and reciprocity. If you find yourself in relationships where you are constantly giving without receiving, it's important to reassess whether those relationships are serving your well-being. By choosing relationships that are supportive and balanced, you show that you respect yourself enough to only engage with people who value and appreciate you. Self-respect also involves taking pride in your work and efforts. Stoicism teaches that we should strive to do our best in whatever we undertake, not for the sake of recognition, but for the sake of excellence. When you put care and attention into your work, regardless of the outcome, you build respect for yourself by knowing that you gave your best effort. This sense of pride in your actions, rather than in the results, is a key component of self-respect. Stoicism encourages us to cultivate wisdom, and part of self-respect is recognizing that wisdom is a lifelong journey. You don't need to have all the answers or be perfect to respect yourself. You simply need to be committed to learning and growing. Each lesson you learn, each piece of wisdom you gain, contributes to your self-respect, as it shows that you are invested in becoming the best version of yourself. Another way to build self-respect is by practicing gratitude for who you are and what you have. Stoicism teaches that we should focus on the things we can be grateful for, rather than dwelling on what we lack. By appreciating your own strengths, talents, and qualities, you build a deeper sense of respect for yourself. This gratitude helps you see your worth clearly and prevents you from falling into the trap of self-doubt or inadequacy. Self-respect also involves being true to your word. Stoicism teaches the importance of integrity, following through on your commitments and being reliable in your actions. When you honor your promises, both to yourself and to others, you reinforce your sense of self-respect. Each time you act with integrity, you demonstrate that you are someone who can be trusted, both by others and by yourself. Another key to cultivating self-respect is by embracing your uniqueness. Stoicism teaches that we each have our own path, and trying to fit into someone else's mold only leads to frustration. When you embrace your individuality and live authentically, you show respect for who you are. This confidence in your uniqueness allows you to stand firm in your values, even when they differ from those around you. Stoicism also teaches us to let go of things that do not serve our well-being, and this is crucial to self-respect. Whether it's toxic relationships, harmful habits, or limiting beliefs, letting go of what no longer serves you is a powerful act of self-respect. It shows that you value yourself enough to release what holds you back and make space for growth and positive change. Another lesson from Stoicism that builds self-respect is the practice of humility. True self-respect doesn't come from arrogance or thinking you're better than others. It comes from recognizing your worth while remaining humble. Stoicism teaches that we are all constantly learning, and humility allows you to respect both yourself and others as fellow travelers on the journey of life. By staying grounded in humility, you cultivate a sense of self-respect that is strong yet balanced. Self-respect also means prioritizing your mental and emotional well-being. Stoicism teaches that peace of mind is one of the most valuable things you can cultivate. By making choices that support your emotional health, such as avoiding unnecessary conflict or taking time for self-care, you show that you respect your own peace. This dedication to protecting your well-being is a key part of building lasting self-respect. Another important aspect of self-respect is taking ownership of your narrative. Stoicism teaches that you have the power to define your own story. By refusing to let others dictate how you should live or what you should prioritize, you take control of your life's direction. This ownership of your story is a powerful way to build self-respect, as it shows that you are not passively accepting life's circumstances, but actively shaping your path. Stoicism also teaches us the value of focusing on what truly matters. Self-respect grows when you prioritize what aligns with your values and let go of distractions or pursuits that do not serve your higher purpose. Each time you choose to focus on what is meaningful and let go of the trivial, you reinforce your sense of self-worth. This focus allows you to live a life of purpose, grounded in what truly brings you fulfillment. Cultivating self-respect through Stoicism involves practicing self-awareness. Stoicism teaches that introspection is key to understanding yourself and your motivations. By regularly reflecting on your actions, thoughts, and decisions, you gain insight into who you are and what you stand for. This self-awareness helps you make choices that align with your values, strengthening your self-respect with each intentional decision. Through this ongoing practice of reflection, you continue to build a deep and lasting sense of respect for yourself. As we deepen our understanding of self-respect and how Stoicism teaches us to value ourselves, another important aspect naturally arises: the role of virtue in our friendships and relationships. Who deserves your help, your time, and your energy? Stoicism encourages us to view friendship through the lens of virtue, where the quality of character, rather than convenience or obligation, determines who truly merits your support. Relationships, when grounded in virtue, not only uplift us, but align with the Stoic principle of living in harmony with nature and our highest values. In Stoicism, friendships based on virtue go beyond superficial connections. They are rooted in mutual respect, trust, and a shared commitment to growth and integrity. When choosing who deserves your help, Stoicism teaches that you should first look for those whose actions align with these values. A person who lives with virtue is not just someone who seeks personal gain, but someone who strives for wisdom, courage, and justice in their interactions with others. Helping such individuals means contributing to a relationship that fosters growth on both sides. One of the key aspects of determining who deserves your help is recognizing their intentions. Stoicism teaches that actions and motives matter greatly. People who act out of self-interest, deceit, or manipulation are not practicing virtue, and offering them your support might not serve either of you well. It's important to look beyond surface-level behaviors and assess whether someone's character aligns with the principles of integrity and honesty. When their intentions are clear and rooted in virtue, they are more deserving of your trust and aid. Virtue in friendship also involves reciprocity. Stoicism does not encourage one-sided relationships where one person is constantly giving while the other takes without offering anything in return. Mutual support is a hallmark of a virtuous friendship. Both parties should contribute to each other's growth and well-being. When you help someone who is also committed to helping you, you create a balanced, harmonious relationship that reflects Stoic principles of fairness and equality. Another essential lesson from Stoicism is that helping someone should not come at the expense of your own values. There are times when people may ask for help that conflicts with what you believe in or what you stand for. Stoicism teaches that you should never compromise your integrity to please others. If helping someone requires you to act against your own principles or neglect your own well-being, it is not virtuous assistance. True help, in a Stoic sense, uplifts both parties and remains aligned with ethical behavior. The Stoic approach to friendship also teaches that we must help those who are willing to help themselves. It's one thing to offer assistance to someone in need, but if that person refuses to take responsibility for their own life or continues to make poor choices, your help may be enabling rather than empowering. Stoicism encourages us to offer guidance and support to those who are actively working on improving themselves, as this aligns with the virtue of wisdom. Helping those who are unwilling to change can drain your energy and detract from your ability to assist those who truly benefit from your help. Stoicism teaches that not everyone deserves your help simply because they ask for it. Your time, energy, and resources are limited, and you must use them wisely. It is important to prioritize relationships where virtue is present, where honesty, integrity, and growth are central. Helping those who embody these traits not only benefits them, but also contributes to your own development, as virtuous friendships inspire mutual growth and learning. Another important element of determining who deserves your help is understanding their commitment to justice. Stoicism values fairness and the practice of treating others with respect and dignity. If a person consistently treats others poorly, acts unjustly, or takes advantage of others, they are not living in alignment with Stoic virtues. Offering help to someone who acts unjustly can be seen as supporting harmful behavior. In contrast, helping those who strive for justice and fairness is a way of contributing to the greater good. Virtue in friendship also involves the willingness to challenge and be challenged. A true friend is someone who helps you grow by offering honest feedback and constructive criticism, just as you do for them. Stoicism teaches that we should value friends who help us become better versions of ourselves, even when that means hearing uncomfortable truths. Helping someone who is open to growth and self-improvement is far more valuable than supporting those who resist change or remain stuck in harmful patterns. Another key aspect of determining who deserves your help is whether the person fosters a sense of community and connection. Stoicism teaches that we are all interconnected and our actions affect the broader community. Those who work to build positive, supportive connections with others are practicing the virtue of wisdom as they understand the value of collective well-being. Offering your help to someone who contributes to the community benefits not only them, but the people around them, creating a ripple effect of positivity and virtue. Stoicism also teaches that helping others should not lead to dependency. While it is noble to offer assistance, it's important to ensure that your help empowers others rather than making them reliant on you. The goal of virtuous help is to strengthen the other person's ability to stand on their own and make wise decisions. Helping those who seek to become more independent and self-reliant aligns with the Stoic value of self-sufficiency, whereas helping those who constantly depend on others without taking responsibility for their own growth can undermine their progress. The Stoic approach to helping others also emphasizes the importance of discernment. Not everyone who seeks your help will have good intentions, and it's essential to practice wisdom in choosing who to assist. Stoicism encourages you to reflect on the impact of your actions. Will your help lead to positive outcomes, or will it enable harmful behaviors? By carefully considering the consequences of your assistance, you ensure that your actions align with virtue and contribute to the well-being of both the individual and the broader community. Another important lesson from Stoicism is that helping others should come from a place of compassion, not obligation. Feeling pressured or guilty into helping someone can lead to resentment or burnout. Stoicism teaches that true compassion comes from a place of strength and clarity, where you offer help willingly because it aligns with your values. When you help someone out of genuine compassion rather than obligation, you contribute to a virtuous relationship that uplifts both parties. Stoicism also encourages us to help those who are committed to learning and growth. A virtuous friend is someone who is constantly seeking to improve themselves, both in character and wisdom. When you offer help to someone who is open to learning, you create a space for mutual growth. In contrast, helping those who are resistant to change or growth can feel draining and unfulfilling. The key is to surround yourself with people who inspire and challenge you to become better, just as you do for them. Another important element of virtuous friendship is humility. Stoicism teaches that humility is a key aspect of living with virtue, and it should also be present in your relationships. Helping those who demonstrate humility, who are open to feedback, willing to admit their mistakes, and eager to learn from others, is a way of fostering deeper, more meaningful connections. In contrast, offering help to those who are arrogant or unwilling to grow only serves to feed their ego rather than contributing to their personal development. The Stoic approach to friendship also involves practicing gratitude. Those who appreciate and acknowledge the help they receive are more likely to cultivate virtuous relationships. Gratitude shows that the person values your support and is aware of the effort you've made on their behalf. This mutual appreciation strengthens the bond of friendship and creates a foundation of respect. Helping someone who lacks gratitude, on the other hand, can lead to feelings of resentment or being taken for granted. Stoicism also teaches that true friends are those who support your growth, not just your comfort. It's easy to surround yourself with people who make you feel good in the moment, but the most virtuous friends are those who challenge you to rise above your limitations and strive for excellence. When deciding who deserves your help, consider whether the person pushes you toward your best self or encourages you to stay in your comfort zone. Virtuous friendships are built on a shared commitment to growth, and helping those who challenge you in a positive way leads to mutual improvement. Another key aspect of helping others in a Stoic framework is knowing when to let go. Some people may start off deserving of your help, but later show patterns of behavior that are not aligned with virtue. Stoicism teaches that we must constantly evaluate our relationships to ensure they are still serving both parties in a positive way. If someone begins to take advantage of your help or no longer reciprocates the effort, it may be time to step back. This doesn't mean cutting ties with every imperfection, but rather practicing discernment about who continues to align with your values. Stoicism encourages us to practice equanimity in our relationships, helping those who face challenges without becoming overly attached to the outcome. It's important to offer help without expecting anything in return, but also to recognize when your efforts are being misused. When someone repeatedly fails to take responsibility for their actions or makes no effort to change despite your help, it may be time to reconsider whether they are deserving of your continued support. Virtuous friendships are built on mutual respect and effort, not on enabling harmful behavior. Another important lesson in helping others is the practice of kindness. Stoicism teaches that kindness is a virtue, and offering help to those who demonstrate kindness toward others is a way of contributing to the greater good. When someone is kind and considerate, they are more likely to use the help they receive to benefit others, creating a ripple effect of positivity. Helping those who embody kindness not only strengthens your relationship, but also promotes the Stoic ideal of living in harmony with the world around you. Stoicism also teaches that helping others should not come from a place of ego or desire for recognition. True help is offered selflessly, without seeking praise or validation. When you help someone with the expectation of being recognized or rewarded, your actions are no longer rooted in virtue. The most deserving people to help are those who appreciate the support without feeling the need to constantly praise or elevate you for your actions. This creates a balanced, virtuous relationship where both parties act out of genuine care, not self-interest. Another key aspect of determining who deserves your help is whether the person demonstrates resilience. Stoicism values the ability to persevere through challenges with grace and courage. Helping someone who shows resilience in the face of adversity means supporting their efforts to overcome obstacles without taking over their responsibility. When you help someone who is already striving to grow stronger, you are contributing to their journey without diminishing their autonomy or independence. Virtuous friendships also require honesty. Stoicism teaches that truth is a fundamental part of living with virtue, and this extends to your relationships. Helping someone who values honesty and transparency strengthens the bond of trust between you. In contrast, offering help to someone who is dishonest or manipulative can lead to frustration and disappointment. True friends deserve your help because they are honest about their needs, their intentions, and their actions, creating a foundation of trust and mutual respect. Another important lesson from Stoicism is the practice of patience. In relationships, patience is essential for fostering growth and understanding. Helping someone who is patient and willing to grow at their own pace creates a virtuous dynamic where both parties can evolve without feeling rushed or pressured. In contrast, helping someone who constantly demands immediate results or lacks patience can create stress and strain on the relationship. Virtuous friendships allow for steady, consistent growth, supported by mutual patience and understanding. Stoicism also teaches that we should help those who inspire us. Surrounding yourself with people who embody the virtues you admire, whether it's wisdom, courage, or kindness, creates a network of support and inspiration. When you help someone who inspires you, you are also investing in your own growth. These relationships lift you up and encourage you to strive for greater heights. In contrast, helping those who consistently drag you down or lead you away from your values can hinder your progress and detract from your sense of purpose. Another key element of virtuous friendship is the practice of forgiveness. Stoicism teaches that no one is perfect and everyone will make mistakes. Helping those who are willing to admit their mistakes and seek forgiveness demonstrates that you are supporting someone who values growth and self-improvement. In contrast, helping those who refuse to acknowledge their wrongs or who continue to act in harmful ways can feel like a wasted effort. Virtuous friendships are built on the ability to forgive and move forward together in pursuit of wisdom and integrity. Stoicism also encourages us to help those who are committed to justice. True friends are those who act with fairness and treat others with respect and dignity. Offering help to someone who consistently stands up for what is right strengthens your bond and aligns with Stoic principles of virtue. In contrast, helping those who act unjustly or harm others may contribute to the perpetuation of negative behavior. By supporting those who strive for justice, you contribute to a more virtuous and harmonious world. Stoicism teaches that the most deserving of your help are those who uplift you and share in your commitment to living a life of virtue. These relationships are not just about convenience or obligation. They are partnerships rooted in a shared vision of growth, integrity, and mutual respect. Helping those who truly align with your values creates a powerful dynamic where both parties are empowered to reach their highest potential. Through this lens of virtue, you can cultivate friendships that not only deserve your help, but also inspire you to become the best version of yourself. As we reflect on the role of virtue in friendships and who truly deserves your help, the next logical step is understanding how to protect yourself in these relationships. Stoicism provides a powerful framework for fostering healthy boundaries that preserve your peace and well-being. Boundaries are not about keeping people out, but about defining what is acceptable for you and ensuring that others respect those limits. With Stoic principles, you can cultivate boundaries that allow you to engage in relationships with clarity and purpose, without sacrificing your own integrity or mental health. Setting boundaries begins with knowing your own values. Stoicism teaches that living in alignment with your principles is the key to inner peace. When you understand what matters most to you, it becomes easier to define the limits you need to maintain in your relationships. Without clear values, boundaries can feel arbitrary or inconsistent, but when rooted in virtue, they become a natural extension of your sense of self-respect. Knowing what you stand for allows you to set boundaries that protect your inner peace while respecting others. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of self-control, and boundaries are a reflection of this control. By setting limits, you exercise power over your own life and choices, rather than allowing others to dictate your actions or emotions. Healthy boundaries are not about controlling others, but about ensuring that you remain in control of yourself. When you establish clear boundaries, you create a buffer between yourself and external forces that might disrupt your peace or pull you away from your values. Another important lesson from Stoicism is the distinction between what is within your control and what is not. When it comes to boundaries, this principle is crucial. You cannot control how others behave or respond to your boundaries, but you can control how you enforce them. Stoicism teaches that your responsibility lies in maintaining your boundaries, not in making others agree with them. When you internalize this lesson, you are less likely to be swayed by external pressure and more likely to stand firm in your convictions. Setting healthy boundaries also requires emotional detachment. Stoicism teaches that while we can care deeply about others, we must not become overly attached to their opinions or approval. Boundaries often challenge the expectations of others, and this can lead to discomfort or conflict. By practicing emotional detachment, you can enforce your boundaries without being weighed down by the fear of rejection or disapproval. This detachment allows you to prioritize your own well-being while still engaging with others in a compassionate and respectful way. Stoicism also teaches that boundaries are not about shutting people out, but about creating space for healthier relationships. When you establish limits, you are not rejecting others, but rather defining the terms of engagement that allow for mutual respect and growth. Boundaries are an expression of self-respect and a way of inviting others to interact with you in a way that honors both your needs and theirs. By setting boundaries, you create the conditions for relationships that are balanced and reciprocal. Another key aspect of fostering healthy boundaries is the practice of assertiveness. Stoicism encourages us to speak truthfully and clearly without aggression or passivity. When you set boundaries, it's important to communicate them directly and confidently without feeling the need to justify or apologize. Assertiveness allows you to express your limits in a way that is respectful yet firm, ensuring that others understand where you stand without leaving room for ambiguity or manipulation. Healthy boundaries also involve knowing when to walk away. Stoicism teaches that not every battle is worth fighting, and sometimes the best way to maintain your peace is to remove yourself from situations or relationships that consistently violate your boundaries. This doesn't mean abandoning every relationship that presents a challenge, but rather recognizing when your boundaries are being ignored or disrespected beyond repair. By walking away when necessary, you protect your integrity and reinforce the importance of your own well-being. Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of self-reliance, and boundaries are a way of fostering this independence. When you set limits, you are taking responsibility for your own emotional and mental health, rather than relying on others to fulfill your needs or validate your feelings. Boundaries empower you to take charge of your own life, ensuring that your sense of self-worth and happiness is not dependent on external factors or the behavior of others. Another lesson from Stoicism that applies to boundaries is the practice of patience. Setting boundaries is not a one-time event. It requires ongoing effort and adjustment. Others may not immediately respect or understand your limits, and enforcing them can sometimes lead to friction or resistance. Stoicism teaches that patience is key in maintaining your boundaries without becoming frustrated or reactive. By remaining calm and consistent, you reinforce your boundaries over time and demonstrate that they are non-negotiable. Boundaries also involve protecting your time and energy. Stoicism teaches that time is one of our most valuable resources, and we must use it wisely. When you set boundaries around your time, you ensure that you are dedicating your energy to what truly matters, rather than allowing others to drain your resources with unnecessary demands or distractions. By being intentional about how you spend your time, you honor your own priorities and prevent burnout. Stoicism also reminds us that boundaries are a way of fostering respect, both for yourself and for others. When you set clear limits, you teach others how to treat you with respect, and you model the importance of respecting others' boundaries as well. Healthy boundaries create an environment of mutual respect, where both parties understand and honor each other's needs and limits. This respect is essential for building relationships that are rooted in trust and equality. Another key aspect of boundaries is the ability to say no without guilt. Stoicism teaches that we must act according to our values, not out of fear of disappointing others. Saying no is often necessary to protect your time, energy, and well-being, but it can be difficult if you are concerned about how others will react. Stoicism encourages you to stand firm in your decisions and to prioritize what is right for you, rather than seeking to please others at the expense of your own needs. Stoicism also teaches that boundaries should be flexible but firm. While it's important to set clear limits, it's also important to recognize when circumstances change and adjustments are needed. Flexibility allows you to adapt to new situations without abandoning your principles, while firmness ensures that your core values remain intact. By balancing flexibility with consistency, you create boundaries that are resilient and capable of withstanding the challenges that life presents. Another important lesson from Stoicism is that boundaries are not a sign of weakness, but of strength. It takes courage and self-awareness to set and maintain boundaries, especially in a world where others may try to push against them. Stoicism teaches that true strength comes from knowing yourself and standing firm in your values, even when it's difficult. Boundaries are a reflection of this inner strength, as they demonstrate your commitment to protecting your peace and well-being. Stoicism also encourages us to be mindful of how we react when others set boundaries with us. Just as you expect others to respect your limits, it's important to practice the same respect when someone else communicates their boundaries. Stoicism teaches that we should approach relationships with humility and a willingness to understand the needs of others. By honoring the boundaries of those around you, you contribute to a culture of mutual respect and strengthen your relationships. Another important element of fostering healthy boundaries is the practice of forgiveness. Stoicism teaches that holding on to resentment or anger can disrupt your peace and prevent growth. When someone crosses your boundaries, it's natural to feel hurt or frustrated, but it's important to practice forgiveness for both yourself and others. Forgiving doesn't mean ignoring the violation, but rather releasing the emotional burden it creates so that you can move forward with clarity and peace. Boundaries also involve protecting your emotional energy. Stoicism teaches that we should be mindful of where we invest our emotions, ensuring that we are not wasting energy on situations or people that do not serve our well-being. By setting boundaries around your emotional engagement, you prevent yourself from being overwhelmed by the emotional needs or dramas of others. This emotional detachment allows you to remain calm and centered, even in challenging situations. Another key lesson from Stoicism is the importance of consistency in enforcing boundaries. It's not enough to set boundaries once and expect others to automatically respect them. You must be consistent in upholding your limits and reinforcing them when necessary. This consistency shows others that your boundaries are serious and non-negotiable, and it prevents confusion or misunderstandings about where you stand. Over time, this consistency strengthens your relationships by creating clear expectations. Stoicism also teaches that boundaries are a way of cultivating inner peace. When you set and maintain boundaries, you create a sense of order and control in your life, which reduces stress and anxiety. Boundaries allow you to protect your mental and emotional well-being, ensuring that you are not constantly reacting to the demands or expectations of others. This inner peace is a reflection of your commitment to living in alignment with your values, rather than being swayed by external pressures. Another important aspect of boundaries is the practice of self-compassion. Stoicism teaches that while we should strive for self-improvement, we must also be kind to ourselves. Setting boundaries can be difficult, especially if you are not used to asserting yourself or prioritizing your own needs. It's important to practice self-compassion as you navigate this process, recognizing that it's okay to make mistakes or feel uncomfortable at first. Over time, as you become more confident in your boundaries, you will find it easier to stand firm in your limits. Stoicism also teaches that boundaries are a way of fostering balance in your life. Without boundaries, it's easy to become overwhelmed by the demands of others or to lose sight of your own needs. Boundaries allow you to create a sense of balance between your responsibilities to others and your responsibility to yourself. By maintaining this balance, you ensure that you are not neglecting your own well-being in the pursuit of helping others, and that your relationships remain healthy and sustainable. Another key lesson from Stoicism is the importance of reflection in maintaining boundaries. Stoicism encourages regular self-examination to ensure that your actions align with your values. This reflection is crucial for setting and adjusting boundaries, as it allows you to assess whether your current limits are serving your well-being or if adjustments are needed. By regularly reflecting on your boundaries, you ensure that they remain aligned with your values and continue to protect your peace. Stoicism also teaches that boundaries are a way of practicing self-respect. When you set clear limits, you are affirming that your time, energy, and well-being are valuable and deserve to be protected. This self-respect is essential for maintaining healthy relationships, as it sets the standard for how others should treat you. By respecting yourself enough to set boundaries, you teach others to respect you as well. Another important aspect of boundaries is the ability to separate your identity from the opinions of others. Stoicism teaches that your worth is not determined by what others think of you, but by how you live in alignment with your values. Boundaries help you maintain this separation by preventing you from becoming overly influenced by the expectations or judgments of others. When you set boundaries, you are asserting your own identity and refusing to be defined by external opinions. Stoicism also encourages us to practice gratitude for the boundaries we set. Boundaries allow us to create space for what truly matters in our lives, whether it's time for self-care, relationships that uplift us, or the pursuit of our goals. By practicing gratitude for the boundaries we establish, we reinforce their importance and remind ourselves of the value they bring to our lives. This gratitude helps us stay committed to maintaining our limits, even when it's challenging. Another key lesson from Stoicism is that boundaries should be rooted in kindness, both toward yourself and others. Setting boundaries is not about punishing others or shutting them out, but about creating a space where both parties can thrive. When you set boundaries with kindness, you communicate your limits in a way that is respectful and compassionate, ensuring that your relationships remain healthy and supportive. Stoicism also teaches that boundaries are a way of protecting your mental clarity. When you set clear limits, you reduce the mental clutter that comes from constantly reacting to the needs and demands of others. Boundaries allow you to focus on what truly matters, without being pulled in multiple directions. This mental clarity is essential for living a life of purpose and intentionality, as it allows you to stay focused on your values and goals. Another important aspect of boundaries is the practice of forgiveness for yourself. Stoicism teaches that self-forgiveness is essential for growth and well-being. Setting boundaries can be difficult, and you may make mistakes along the way, whether it's failing to enforce a limit or feeling guilty for asserting your needs. It's important to forgive yourself for these missteps and recognize that boundary setting is a learning process. Each step you take toward healthier boundaries is a step toward greater self-respect and inner peace. Stoicism also teaches that boundaries are a way of fostering resilience. When you set clear limits, you create a sense of stability and control in your life, which helps you navigate challenges with greater strength and confidence. Boundaries allow you to protect your well-being, even in difficult situations, by ensuring that you are not overwhelmed by external demands or pressures. This resilience is essential for maintaining your peace and continuing to grow in alignment with your values. Another key lesson from Stoicism is the importance of being present in your relationships. Boundaries allow you to engage more fully with others by creating a sense of balance and clarity. When your limits are clear, you can be fully present in your interactions without feeling drained or overwhelmed by the demands of others. This presence allows for deeper, more meaningful connections, as both parties understand and respect each other's needs and boundaries. Stoicism teaches that boundaries are a way of cultivating freedom. When you set and maintain boundaries, you free yourself from the expectations and pressures of others, allowing you to live in alignment with your values. This freedom is not about isolation, but about creating space for what truly matters: your well-being, your goals, and your relationships. By fostering healthy boundaries, you create a life that is guided by purpose and integrity, allowing you to thrive in a world that often seeks to pull you in many directions. As we delve into the power of healthy boundaries and the freedom they bring, we must also explore the deeper concept of justice, especially in relationships. Stoicism teaches that justice is one of the 4 cardinal virtues, guiding us to treat others with fairness, respect, and integrity. In relationships, justice isn't just about external laws or rules. It's about how we honor the rights, dignity, and humanity of others while staying true to our own values. Understanding and applying the Stoic concept of justice in relationships helps us cultivate deeper, more meaningful connections that are grounded in mutual respect and fairness. Justice in relationships starts with recognizing the inherent worth of others. Stoicism teaches that every person, regardless of their status, actions, or beliefs, deserves to be treated with respect and dignity. This means that in any relationship, whether with a partner, friend, or colleague, we must act in ways that uphold the other person's humanity. Justice is not about superiority or control, but about creating an equal exchange where both individuals are valued for who they are. A key component of justice in relationships is fairness. Stoicism emphasizes that we must strive to treat others in ways that reflect fairness and equity. This means giving credit where it's due, sharing responsibilities equally, and avoiding favoritism or bias. In relationships, fairness ensures that both parties feel valued and that no one is taking advantage of the other. When we act with fairness, we build trust and foster a sense of mutual respect, which is essential for maintaining healthy and just relationships. Stoicism also teaches that justice involves fulfilling our duties and responsibilities toward others. In relationships, this means showing up for the people in our lives, offering support when needed, and being reliable in our commitments. Justice requires us to honor our promises and follow through on our obligations, whether in small day-to-day tasks or in larger life responsibilities. When we act with integrity and reliability, we demonstrate justice by ensuring that we are trustworthy and dependable in our relationships. Justice also involves holding others accountable for their actions, but with compassion. Stoicism teaches that while it is important to hold people responsible for their behavior, we must do so with an understanding that all humans are imperfect. In relationships, this means addressing issues and conflicts without harsh judgment or resentment. Instead of seeking to punish or control, justice calls for understanding the root causes of a person's actions and working towards solutions that benefit both parties. This approach to accountability creates an environment where growth and improvement are possible without fostering bitterness or division. One of the most important aspects of justice in relationships is the practice of empathy. Stoicism teaches that we should strive to understand the experiences and perspectives of others before passing judgment. In relationships, empathy allows us to connect on a deeper level, as we are able to see beyond our own needs and desires and recognize the feelings and challenges of the other person. Justice in relationships means creating space for empathy, ensuring that we listen and respond to others with compassion and fairness, even when we disagree. Another key element of justice is the recognition of boundaries, both our own and others. Stoicism teaches that justice requires respecting the autonomy and rights of others, and this extends to their personal boundaries. In relationships, justice involves acknowledging when someone needs space, understanding their limits, and not imposing our will or expectations on them. Respecting boundaries is a fundamental part of treating others justly, as it allows for mutual respect and understanding without overstepping or causing harm. Stoicism also emphasizes that justice requires consistency in our actions and decisions. In relationships, this means acting in ways that are consistent with our values and principles, regardless of the situation or the other person's behavior. Justice does not waver based on convenience or emotion. It is a steadfast commitment to fairness and integrity. By being consistent in how we treat others, we create trust and stability in our relationships, allowing both parties to feel secure in the knowledge that they will be treated with respect and fairness at all times. Justice in relationships also means avoiding exploitation. Stoicism teaches that we must never use others for our own gain or take advantage of their vulnerabilities. In relationships, justice involves ensuring that we are not manipulating or exploiting someone for personal benefit. This requires honesty and transparency in our intentions and actions, as well as a willingness to confront any power imbalances that may arise. By avoiding exploitation, we create relationships that are based on mutual trust and respect, rather than manipulation or control. Another important aspect of justice is the willingness to forgive. Stoicism teaches that justice is not about holding on to grudges or seeking revenge, but about creating balance and harmony. In relationships, this means offering forgiveness when someone has wronged us, provided that they acknowledge their mistake and show a willingness to make amends. Forgiveness is an act of justice because it restores balance to the relationship and allows both parties to move forward with a renewed sense of trust and understanding. Justice also requires us to confront injustice when we see it. Stoicism teaches that we must stand up for what is right, even when it's uncomfortable or difficult. In relationships, this means addressing harmful behaviors or patterns, whether it's within the relationship itself or in the broader context of how the other person interacts with the world. Justice involves not turning a blind eye to wrongdoing, but having the courage to speak out and seek resolution. By confronting injustice, we uphold the principles of fairness and integrity in all our interactions. Stoicism teaches that justice must be tempered with wisdom. While it is important to act justly, we must also be discerning in how we apply justice in our relationships. This means recognizing when strict adherence to rules or fairness may cause unnecessary harm and being willing to adapt our approach when needed. In relationships, wisdom allows us to balance justice with kindness, ensuring that we act in ways that not only uphold fairness, but also foster growth and understanding. This balance creates stronger, more resilient relationships that are built on both respect and compassion. Another key aspect of justice in relationships is the ability to give and receive equally. Stoicism teaches that relationships should be reciprocal, with both parties contributing to the well-being of the other. Justice in this context means ensuring that we are not taking more than we are giving, and that we are not allowing ourselves to be taken advantage of. When both parties give and receive in equal measure, the relationship becomes balanced and fair, creating a foundation of trust and mutual respect. Justice also involves the practice of gratitude. Stoicism teaches that we should be thankful for the people in our lives and the support they provide. In relationships, expressing gratitude is an act of justice because it acknowledges the efforts and contributions of the other person. By recognizing and appreciating the help and kindness we receive, we create an environment where both parties feel valued and respected. This mutual appreciation strengthens the bond of the relationship and ensures that both individuals feel seen and appreciated. Stoicism also teaches that justice involves being honest and transparent in our relationships. Deception, whether intentional or not, undermines trust and creates an imbalance of power. Justice in relationships requires that we communicate openly and honestly, even when the truth is difficult to share. By being truthful, we ensure that the relationship is built on a foundation of trust and respect, allowing both parties to engage with each other in a way that is authentic and fair. Another key element of justice is the recognition of effort. Stoicism teaches that we should acknowledge and appreciate the efforts of others, even if the outcomes are not perfect. In relationships, this means recognizing when someone is trying their best, even if they fall short of expectations. Justice requires that we judge others not solely by their results, but by their intentions and efforts. This creates a more compassionate and understanding dynamic in relationships, where both parties feel supported and encouraged to grow. Justice in relationships also involves letting go of unrealistic expectations. Stoicism teaches that we should not demand perfection from others, as all humans are fallible. In relationships, this means accepting that mistakes will happen and that we must approach them with fairness and understanding. Justice requires that we judge others based on their character and actions over time, rather than holding them to impossible standards. By letting go of unrealistic expectations, we create space for growth and learning, allowing both parties to thrive. Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of acting with integrity in relationships. Justice requires that we remain true to our values, even when it's difficult or inconvenient. In relationships, this means standing by our principles and treating others with fairness and respect, even when emotions run high. Acting with integrity ensures that we do not compromise our values for the sake of temporary comfort or approval, creating relationships that are built on mutual respect and trust. Another important aspect of justice is the practice of patience. Stoicism teaches that we must be patient with others, allowing them the time and space to grow and improve. In relationships, justice requires that we do not rush to judgment or impose unrealistic timelines on others. Instead, we must be patient and understanding, recognizing that growth is a gradual process. By practicing patience, we create a more compassionate and just dynamic in our relationships, where both parties are given the opportunity to evolve at their own pace. Justice also involves the ability to listen. Stoicism teaches that true justice requires us to understand the perspectives and experiences of others. In relationships, this means listening without judgment or interruption, allowing the other person to express themselves fully. By listening attentively, we demonstrate respect for the other person's thoughts and feelings, creating a space where both parties feel heard and valued. This practice of active listening is essential for fostering justice and fairness in relationships. Another key lesson from Stoicism is that justice requires humility. Stoicism teaches that we should not place ourselves above others or assume that we are always right. In relationships, justice involves recognizing that we are all equals and that each person's perspective is valuable. By approaching relationships with humility, we create an environment of mutual respect and understanding, where both parties are willing to learn from each other and grow together. Justice also requires us to recognize when a relationship is no longer serving both parties equally. Stoicism teaches that we must be willing to let go of relationships that are imbalanced or harmful. In relationships, this means having the courage to walk away from situations where justice is not being upheld, where one person is consistently taking advantage of the other, or where mutual respect has been lost. Letting go of such relationships is an act of justice, as it ensures that both parties are free to pursue connections that are more balanced and equitable. Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of boundaries in maintaining justice in relationships. Boundaries ensure that both parties are treated with respect and that neither person oversteps their limits. In relationships, justice requires that we respect each other's boundaries and communicate our own clearly. By maintaining healthy boundaries, we create a space where both individuals can thrive without fear of exploitation or disrespect. Another key element of justice in relationships is the willingness to admit when we are wrong. Stoicism teaches that justice requires us to take responsibility for our actions and to make amends when necessary. In relationships, this means acknowledging our mistakes and working to repair any harm caused. By owning up to our errors, we demonstrate integrity and fairness, creating a foundation of trust and respect in the relationship. Justice also involves giving others the benefit of the doubt. Stoicism teaches that we should not rush to judgment or assume the worst about others. In relationships, this means approaching conflicts and misunderstandings with an open mind, seeking to understand the other person's perspective before drawing conclusions. By giving others the benefit of the doubt, we foster a sense of fairness and understanding in our relationships, allowing for deeper connection and mutual respect. Another important aspect of justice is the ability to balance our own needs with the needs of others. Stoicism teaches that justice requires us to consider the well-being of others without neglecting our own. In relationships, this means finding a balance between giving and receiving, ensuring that both parties feel supported and valued. Justice in this context involves recognizing when we need to prioritize our own needs and when we can offer support to others, creating a harmonious and equitable dynamic. Stoicism also teaches that justice involves acting with kindness and compassion. While justice requires fairness, it should also be tempered with empathy and understanding. In relationships, this means treating others with kindness, even when addressing conflicts or holding them accountable for their actions. By balancing justice with compassion, we create relationships that are not only fair, but also nurturing and supportive. Justice in relationships also requires us to be consistent in our actions and decisions. Stoicism teaches that fairness must be applied equally, without favoritism or bias. In relationships, this means treating everyone with the same level of respect and consideration, regardless of their status or our personal feelings. By being consistent in how we apply justice, we create an environment of trust and reliability where both parties feel secure in the knowledge that they will be treated fairly. Another key lesson from Stoicism is that justice requires us to be present in our relationships. Stoicism teaches that we must engage fully with the people in our lives, offering our attention and support when needed. In relationships, justice involves being fully present in our interactions, listening attentively, and responding thoughtfully. By being present, we show respect for the other person's time and energy, creating a relationship that is grounded in fairness and mutual understanding. Stoicism teaches that justice is an ongoing practice. It is not something that we achieve once and then forget, but something that we must continuously cultivate in our relationships. Justice requires constant reflection, adjustment, and growth as we strive to treat others with fairness and respect in all our interactions. By committing to the practice of justice in our relationships, we create connections that are rooted in mutual respect, integrity, and compassion, allowing both parties to thrive and grow together. As we reflect on the concept of justice in relationships, a natural shift occurs towards caring for oneself, for without a strong foundation of self-care, it becomes difficult to navigate relationships with fairness and clarity. Stoicism teaches that prioritizing yourself is not an act of selfishness, but one of wisdom. To be at peace with others and to live virtuously, you must first be at peace within yourself. The importance of self-care lies in its ability to preserve your mind, body, and spirit, allowing you to face life's challenges with resilience and clarity. Self-care in Stoicism begins with the mind. Your thoughts are at the core of your well-being, and Stoicism emphasizes that mental clarity is essential for living a virtuous life. When you take the time to care for your mental health through practices like meditation, reflection, and journaling, you create space for self-awareness and inner calm. This mental discipline allows you to respond to life's challenges from a place of reason rather than reactivity, which is crucial for maintaining both inner peace and healthy relationships. Stoicism teaches that caring for yourself physically is equally important. The body and mind are interconnected, and neglecting one affects the other. Taking care of your physical health through proper nutrition, exercise, and rest is a fundamental part of self-care. When your body is strong and well maintained, it enhances your mental resilience, making it easier to face difficulties with grace. Self-care isn't about indulgence, but about nurturing yourself in a way that supports your overall well-being. Another key aspect of self-care in Stoicism is emotional regulation. Stoicism teaches that while we cannot control external events, we can control how we respond to them. Taking care of your emotional well-being involves recognizing when you are overwhelmed or distressed and taking steps to restore balance. This might mean stepping away from a situation to gain perspective or engaging in practices that calm the mind, like breathing exercises or time in nature. Emotional self-care is about managing your internal world so that you can approach life with calm and clarity. Prioritizing yourself also means protecting your energy. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of not allowing external distractions or demands to drain your energy and attention. Self-care involves setting boundaries with people and activities that do not serve your well-being. By focusing your energy on what aligns with your values, you ensure that you are not wasting time or resources on things that bring little benefit. This conservation of energy allows you to invest more deeply in what truly matters, bringing greater meaning and fulfillment to your life. Another important lesson from Stoicism is the value of solitude. While relationships and community are essential, Stoicism teaches that time alone is equally important for self-care. Solitude allows for reflection and introspection, helping you to reconnect with your inner self and gain clarity on your thoughts and feelings. In these moments of quiet, you can assess your life's direction and make thoughtful decisions about where to focus your attention. Solitude is a time for recharging, where you can strip away external noise and connect with your true nature. Self-care also involves embracing the present moment. Stoicism teaches that the present is the only time we truly have control over. Focusing too much on the past or future can create unnecessary anxiety and detract from your well-being. By practicing mindfulness and staying present, you can fully engage with the current moment, appreciating it for what it is. This presence is a powerful form of self-care, as it allows you to let go of worries and fears that do not serve you and to find peace in what is. Another key part of self-care is the practice of gratitude. Stoicism teaches that being grateful for what you have, rather than focusing on what you lack, brings a sense of contentment and fulfillment. By regularly practicing gratitude, you shift your mindset from one of scarcity to one of abundance, allowing you to appreciate the small joys and comforts in your life. Gratitude not only nurtures your emotional well-being, but also strengthens your resilience in the face of adversity, as it reminds you of the good that still exists, even in difficult times. Stoicism also teaches the importance of aligning your actions with your values as a form of self-care. When you live in a way that reflects your deepest principles, you create harmony between your inner and outer worlds. This alignment brings a sense of peace and purpose, as you know that your actions are contributing to the life you want to lead. Self-care is not just about physical rest or relaxation. It is about ensuring that your daily life is in line with what you value most, so that you can live authentically and with intention. Self-care in Stoicism also involves taking responsibility for your own happiness. Stoicism teaches that relying on external sources for happiness is a recipe for disappointment, as external circumstances are often beyond our control. Instead, self-care means cultivating inner happiness through practices like reflection, self-awareness, and the pursuit of wisdom. When you take ownership of your happiness, you empower yourself to create a life that brings fulfillment, regardless of what is happening around you. Another crucial aspect of self-care is learning to let go of what you cannot control. Stoicism emphasizes that trying to control the uncontrollable only leads to frustration and suffering. Self-care means accepting that some things are beyond your influence and choosing to focus instead on what you can change, your thoughts, actions, and responses. This practice of letting go is deeply liberating, as it frees you from the constant worry and stress of trying to manage everything. In doing so, you preserve your mental and emotional energy for what truly matters. Stoicism also teaches that self-care involves self-compassion. It is easy to be hard on yourself when you make mistakes or fall short of your goals, but Stoicism encourages a more compassionate approach. Recognizing that you are human and that imperfection is part of life allows you to be kinder to yourself. Self-care means forgiving yourself for past errors and focusing on how you can improve in the future. This compassion is not about avoiding responsibility, but about allowing yourself the space to grow without unnecessary self-criticism. Another important lesson from Stoicism is the idea of progress over perfection. In the pursuit of self-care, it is important to remember that growth takes time and that small, consistent efforts are more valuable than striving for unattainable perfection. Stoicism teaches that focusing on gradual improvement allows you to build resilience and strength over time. This mindset of progress helps you avoid burnout and discouragement as you learn to appreciate the small steps you take each day toward becoming a better version of yourself. Self-care also involves surrounding yourself with people who uplift and support you. Stoicism teaches that the people you spend time with influence your thoughts, behaviors, and well-being. By choosing to surround yourself with those who align with your values and who encourage your growth, you create an environment that supports your self-care efforts. Healthy relationships are an important part of self-care, as they provide the support and encouragement needed to navigate life's challenges with greater ease. Another key aspect of self-care is the practice of saying no. Stoicism teaches that we must be mindful of how we spend our time and energy, and sometimes this means turning down requests or invitations that do not align with our priorities. Saying no is a powerful act of self-care, as it allows you to protect your time for the things that matter most. It also helps prevent burnout and overwhelm, as you learn to set healthy boundaries and focus on what truly serves your well-being. Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of self-discipline in self-care. While self-care often brings to mind relaxation or rest, it also involves the discipline to do what is necessary for your long-term well-being. This might mean maintaining a regular exercise routine, sticking to a budget, or making time for reflection each day. Self-discipline is an essential part of self-care because it ensures that you are taking consistent action toward your goals and values, rather than being swayed by short-term pleasures or distractions. Another important element of self-care is the practice of simplifying your life. Stoicism teaches that many of life's stresses come from unnecessary complications and distractions. By simplifying your environment, schedule, and priorities, you create space for what truly matters. This simplicity allows for greater focus and clarity, reducing the mental clutter that can lead to stress and overwhelm. Simplifying your life is a form of self-care that helps you stay grounded and aligned with your values. Stoicism also teaches that self-care involves being kind to your future self. The choices you make today have a direct impact on your well-being tomorrow. By taking care of your body, mind, and spirit now, you set yourself up for greater happiness and success in the future. This forward-thinking approach to self-care encourages you to make decisions that support your long-term health and happiness, rather than seeking immediate gratification that may lead to negative consequences later on. Another key lesson from Stoicism is that self-care requires self-awareness. You must regularly check in with yourself to understand your needs, emotions, and energy levels. Self-awareness allows you to recognize when you need rest, when you need to push forward, and when you need to make changes in your life. This ongoing practice of self-reflection is essential for effective self-care, as it ensures that you are responding to your needs in a timely and thoughtful way, rather than waiting until burnout or overwhelm sets in. Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of accepting yourself as you are, while still striving for improvement. Self-care involves recognizing your current state, your strengths, weaknesses, and areas for growth, without judgment. This acceptance allows you to approach your self-care practices with kindness and patience, rather than feeling pressured to change overnight. At the same time, Stoicism encourages continuous self-improvement, ensuring that self-care is not an excuse for complacency, but a path toward greater fulfillment and wisdom. Another important aspect of self-care is cultivating resilience. Stoicism teaches that life is full of challenges, and self-care involves preparing yourself mentally and emotionally to face these difficulties. Resilience is built through practices like reflection, mindfulness, and self-discipline, which strengthen your ability to remain calm and focused in the face of adversity. By prioritizing your mental and emotional well-being, you create a foundation of strength that allows you to navigate life's ups and downs with greater ease. Self-care also involves taking breaks and allowing yourself time to rest. Stoicism teaches that rest is not a sign of weakness, but a necessary part of maintaining your energy and focus. When you allow yourself to rest, you recharge your mind and body, enabling you to approach your responsibilities with renewed strength. Rest is an essential part of self-care, as it ensures that you are not constantly depleting your resources, but instead replenishing them so that you can continue to grow and thrive. Stoicism also teaches the importance of perspective in self-care. By maintaining a broad perspective on life, you can avoid becoming overly attached to minor setbacks or frustrations. This perspective allows you to see challenges as temporary and manageable rather than overwhelming. Self-care involves cultivating this mindset of detachment and resilience, ensuring that you remain centered and focused on your long-term goals, rather than being pulled off course by short-term difficulties. Another key lesson from Stoicism is that self-care involves embracing impermanence. Stoicism teaches that everything in life is temporary, and this understanding can bring a sense of peace and acceptance. By recognizing the impermanence of both joy and suffering, you can approach life with greater equanimity. Self-care in this context means allowing yourself to experience emotions without becoming attached to them, knowing that they will pass in time. This acceptance of life's fleeting nature helps you find balance and contentment in the present moment. Stoicism also teaches that self-care involves practicing gratitude for your body and mind. Your body and mind are the tools through which you experience the world, and taking care of them is an act of respect and appreciation. By nurturing your physical and mental health, you create a foundation for greater well-being and happiness. Self-care in this context is about recognizing the gift of your body and mind and treating them with the care they deserve. Another key aspect of self-care is the practice of mindfulness. Stoicism teaches that being present and fully engaged in the current moment is essential for inner peace. Mindfulness allows you to tune into your thoughts, feelings, and surroundings, creating a sense of calm and clarity. This practice is a powerful form of self-care, as it helps you let go of worries about the past or future and focus on what is happening right now. Mindfulness brings a sense of peace and presence that supports your overall well-being. Self-care also involves being intentional with your time. Stoicism teaches that time is one of our most valuable resources, and self-care means using it wisely. This involves prioritizing activities that nourish your mind, body, and spirit, while letting go of those that drain your energy or distract you from your goals. By being intentional with your time, you create space for rest, reflection, and growth, ensuring that you are living in alignment with your values and priorities. Stoicism teaches that self-care is an ongoing practice. It is not something you do once and then forget, but a continuous effort to nurture your well-being. Self-care involves regularly checking in with yourself, adjusting your practices as needed, and making a commitment to prioritize your health and happiness. Through this ongoing practice of self-care, you create a life that is grounded in peace, resilience, and purpose, allowing you to thrive in both your personal and professional pursuits. As we delve deeper into the practice of self-care and the power of prioritizing ourselves, we naturally encounter the issue of relationships that may hold us back. One of the most challenging forms of unhealthy relationships is codependency. Codependent relationships can be draining, keeping both individuals from reaching their full potential. Stoic wisdom offers practical and empowering ways to break free from these dynamics and regain your sense of autonomy. Understanding how to do this not only liberates you, but allows you to grow stronger and more fulfilled, building relationships that support mutual independence and respect. Stoicism teaches that one of the core principles of freedom is understanding what is within your control and what is not. In a codependent relationship, it's easy to become consumed with trying to control the other person's actions, feelings, or decisions, thinking that by doing so, you can fix the relationship or ensure their happiness. But Stoicism reminds us that other people's choices are beyond our control. The only thing you can truly manage is your own reactions and choices. This is the first step toward breaking free from codependency, accepting that you are not responsible for someone else's emotional state or their behavior. In a codependent relationship, it's common to lose sight of your own identity. You may find yourself constantly sacrificing your needs, values, or goals to accommodate the other person. Stoicism teaches that living in accordance with your own values is essential for true fulfillment. To break free, you must reconnect with your own identity, who you are outside of the relationship. Start by reflecting on what truly matters to you. What are your principles? What do you want to achieve in life? Once you begin to live in alignment with these values, you regain your sense of self and no longer rely on the relationship for validation or purpose. Another key element in breaking free from codependency is setting boundaries. Stoicism teaches that boundaries are necessary for protecting your peace and well-being. In codependent relationships, boundaries are often blurred, with one person constantly overstepping into the other's emotional or physical space. To reclaim your autonomy, you must establish clear and firm boundaries. This means identifying what behaviors are acceptable and what are not, and communicating those limits to the other person. Enforcing these boundaries may be challenging at first, especially if the other person is used to over-relying on you, but maintaining them is essential for your emotional freedom. Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of emotional resilience. Codependent relationships often thrive on emotional intensity, with both parties becoming overly attached to each other's feelings. Stoic wisdom teaches that while it's natural to care about others, it's harmful to let their emotions dictate your state of mind. To break free, you must learn to regulate your emotions and detach from the emotional turbulence of the relationship. This doesn't mean becoming cold or indifferent. It means finding balance and not allowing another person's moods or crises to control your own emotional well-being. Through practices like mindfulness and reflection, you can develop the emotional strength needed to remain centered and calm, even when the other person is struggling. Another aspect of breaking free from codependency is learning to say no. In codependent relationships, there's often a fear of rejection or conflict, leading one person to always say yes to avoid upsetting the other. However, Stoicism teaches that true strength comes from living authentically, which includes the ability to say no when something does not align with your values or well-being. Saying no is an act of self-respect and empowerment. It establishes that you have the right to make decisions that are best for you, without being controlled by the other person's expectations or desires. Stoicism also teaches the importance of self-reliance. In a codependent relationship, there is often an unhealthy reliance on the other person for emotional support, validation, or decision-making. To break free, you must cultivate your own sense of self-reliance. This means learning to trust your own judgment, making decisions for yourself, and finding inner strength rather than depending on the relationship for stability. Self-reliance is a powerful tool for breaking the cycle of codependency because it allows you to reclaim control over your life and develop the confidence to stand on your own. Another important lesson from Stoicism is the practice of detachment. Codependent relationships are characterized by an overwhelming attachment to the other person's actions, opinions, and emotions. Stoicism teaches that detachment doesn't mean withdrawing from the relationship entirely, but involves creating enough emotional space to maintain your own independence. Detaching from the outcome of the relationship, or from the need to constantly fix or control the other person, frees you to focus on your own growth and well-being. This sense of detachment allows you to stay engaged in the relationship in a healthier way, without losing yourself in it. Stoicism also encourages the practice of self-discipline. Codependent relationships often involve patterns of behavior that are difficult to break, such as constantly rescuing the other person or enabling their unhealthy habits. Self-discipline helps you resist the urge to fall back into these patterns. By staying committed to your own values and goals, you can avoid the temptation to revert to codependent behaviors, such as over-involvement in the other person's problems. Discipline also ensures that you continue to grow and progress in your personal development, even as you work to change the dynamics of the relationship. Breaking free from codependency also requires developing a sense of gratitude for your own strengths and abilities. In codependent relationships, there is often an imbalance, with one person constantly giving and the other receiving. This dynamic can lead to feelings of resentment or inadequacy. Stoicism teaches that by focusing on your own strengths and recognizing your contributions, you can shift the balance and appreciate your worth. Gratitude for yourself helps you stop seeking validation from the other person and empowers you to value your own efforts and abilities. Another key element in overcoming codependency is embracing impermanence. Stoicism teaches that everything in life is temporary, including relationships. While it may be difficult to acknowledge, codependent relationships often have a finite lifespan, especially when they are based on unhealthy dynamics. By accepting that relationships, like everything else, are subject to change and end, you free yourself from the fear of loss that often drives codependency. This acceptance of impermanence allows you to engage with the relationship in a more balanced way, without clinging to it for fear of being alone or abandoned. Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of inner peace. In codependent relationships, peace is often sacrificed in the name of maintaining harmony or avoiding conflict. However, Stoic wisdom teaches that true peace comes from within, not from external relationships. To break free, you must prioritize your own inner calm over the constant need to manage the other person's emotions. This might mean walking away from conflict, refusing to engage in unnecessary drama, or taking time for yourself to recharge. By prioritizing your peace, you protect yourself from the chaos that often accompanies codependency. Another crucial step in breaking free from codependency is learning to accept responsibility for your own happiness. Codependent relationships often involve placing the responsibility for your happiness in the hands of the other person, leading to disappointment and frustration when they fail to meet your needs. Stoicism teaches that happiness is an inside job, something you cultivate within yourself. By taking ownership of your own happiness, you relieve the other person of the impossible task of fulfilling you, and you free yourself from the constant search for external validation. This shift in perspective allows you to approach the relationship from a place of wholeness rather than neediness. Breaking free from codependency also involves addressing fear. Stoicism teaches that fear, especially the fear of loss or rejection, often drives unhealthy relationships. In codependent dynamics, fear of being alone or losing the relationship can keep you trapped in a cycle of overgiving and self-sacrifice. Stoicism encourages you to confront these fears directly, recognizing that fear is often based on irrational thoughts or worst-case scenarios. By facing your fears, you dismantle the power they hold over you, allowing you to make decisions based on reason and values rather than fear. Another key element in overcoming codependency is embracing self-compassion. In codependent relationships, it's common to neglect your own needs in favor of caring for the other person. However, Stoicism teaches that compassion must start with yourself. By being kind and patient with yourself, you create the space to heal and grow, even as you work to change the relationship. Self-compassion helps you let go of guilt or shame about the dynamic and encourages you to prioritize your own well-being as much as the other person's. Stoicism also teaches that breaking free from codependency involves embracing discomfort. Change is rarely easy, and altering the dynamics of a codependent relationship can be challenging and uncomfortable. However, Stoicism reminds us that growth often comes through discomfort. By facing these challenges head-on and remaining committed to your own growth, you build the resilience needed to navigate the transition. This willingness to endure discomfort is essential for breaking free, as it allows you to stay focused on the long-term benefits of independence, even when the short-term process is difficult. Another important aspect of breaking free from codependency is developing healthy communication. Stoicism teaches that honest and open communication is essential for maintaining virtuous relationships. In codependent relationships, communication is often distorted by fear, guilt, or manipulation. To break free, you must learn to communicate your needs, boundaries, and feelings clearly and assertively, without resorting to passive-aggressive tactics or people-pleasing behaviors. By practicing honest communication, you create a healthier dynamic where both parties can express themselves freely and work toward mutual understanding. Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of self-awareness in breaking free from codependency. Self-awareness allows you to recognize the patterns and behaviors that contribute to the unhealthy dynamic. By regularly reflecting on your actions, thoughts, and emotions, you gain insight into how the relationship is affecting you and what changes need to be made. Self-awareness is key to breaking the cycle of codependency because it empowers you to take responsibility for your role in the relationship and to make conscious choices that support your growth and well-being. Another crucial element in breaking free from codependency is practicing forgiveness, both for yourself and the other person. Stoicism teaches that holding on to resentment or anger only causes further suffering. In a codependent relationship, there may be a lot of hurt and frustration built up over time. By practicing forgiveness, you release the emotional weight of these grievances and create space for healing. Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning harmful behavior, but it does allow you to move forward without being held back by the past. Stoicism also teaches that breaking free from codependency involves focusing on your own growth and development. In a codependent relationship, it's easy to become consumed by the other person's needs or problems, neglecting your own goals and aspirations. To break free, you must redirect your attention to your own personal development. This might mean pursuing a hobby, advancing your career, or deepening your spiritual practice. By investing in your own growth, you create a sense of fulfillment and purpose that is independent of the relationship, allowing you to break the cycle of over-reliance on the other person. Another key element of breaking free from codependency is learning to embrace solitude. Stoicism teaches that solitude is essential for reflection and personal growth. In a codependent relationship, there is often a fear of being alone, leading to constant attempts to maintain the connection, even when it is unhealthy. By learning to be comfortable with solitude, you break the fear of loneliness that drives codependency. Solitude provides the opportunity to reconnect with yourself, reflect on your values, and find peace in your own company. Breaking free from codependency also involves recognizing the importance of self-worth. Stoicism teaches that your worth is inherent and not dependent on external validation. In a codependent relationship, it's common to seek validation from the other person, relying on their approval or attention to feel good about yourself. To break free, you must recognize that your worth is not determined by how the other person treats you. By cultivating self-worth, you empower yourself to set boundaries, make decisions that align with your values, and prioritize your own well-being. Stoicism also teaches that breaking free from codependency involves focusing on the present moment. Codependent relationships often involve dwelling on the past or worrying about the future, whether it's reliving past conflicts or fearing future rejection. By staying grounded in the present, you can break free from these cycles of worry and regret. The present moment is where you have the most control, and by focusing on what you can do right now to improve your situation, you regain your sense of power and autonomy. Another important aspect of breaking free from codependency is embracing the concept of imperfection. Stoicism teaches that no one is perfect, and expecting perfection from yourself or the other person will only lead to disappointment. In codependent relationships, there is often a desire to fix or perfect the other person, believing that if they change, the relationship will improve. However, Stoicism encourages you to accept the other person as they are while focusing on your own growth. This acceptance allows you to let go of the need to control or change the relationship, creating space for healthier dynamics to emerge. Stoicism teaches that breaking free from codependency involves embracing freedom. True freedom comes from within, and it is not dependent on external circumstances or relationships. By breaking free from codependent dynamics, you reclaim your inner freedom, the freedom to live in alignment with your values, to make decisions that honor your well-being, and to cultivate relationships based on mutual respect and independence. This freedom is the ultimate goal of breaking free from codependency, allowing you to live a life of peace, purpose, and fulfillment. Having explored the steps to break free from codependent relationships using Stoic wisdom, we now shift focus to a cornerstone of personal empowerment, self-reliance, and emotional independence. These principles are central to Stoic philosophy, offering a path to inner strength, resilience, and true freedom. To live a life of virtue, free from the chains of external circumstances and other people's emotions, one must develop the ability to rely on oneself. This path isn't about isolation, but about cultivating a steady foundation from within, no matter what life throws at you. Self-reliance begins with understanding that the only true control you have is over your own mind and actions. Stoicism emphasizes that while the world around you may be unpredictable, your responses are entirely within your power. When you develop self-reliance, you no longer depend on external validation or circumstances to feel secure. This inner fortitude makes you less vulnerable to disappointment because your peace doesn't hinge on outcomes you can't control. Emotional independence is closely tied to this idea. Stoicism teaches that emotions, while natural, should not dominate your life. Instead of being swayed by the highs and lows of external events or relationships, emotional independence allows you to maintain balance and clarity. This doesn't mean suppressing feelings, but rather not letting them dictate your actions. It's about acknowledging emotions without allowing them to steer your life off course. Building self-reliance requires a strong sense of self-awareness. Stoicism encourages regular reflection on your thoughts, behaviors, and motivations. This practice allows you to recognize patterns where you might be overly dependent on others for emotional support, direction, or approval. The more you understand yourself, the better equipped you are to meet your own needs, reducing the urge to lean on external sources for fulfillment. At the core of self-reliance is responsibility. Stoicism teaches that each individual is responsible for their own life, choices, and happiness. This means that blaming others for your circumstances or emotions is counterproductive. By taking full ownership of your life, you empower yourself to make changes, overcome challenges, and grow stronger. Self-reliance rejects the idea of victimhood, instead fostering a mindset of accountability and proactivity. One of the most profound aspects of emotional independence is the ability to let go of the need for approval. Stoicism warns against seeking validation from others, as it places your happiness in their hands. When you are emotionally independent, you no longer need constant reassurance or praise to feel confident in your decisions. You learn to trust yourself and your values, which allows you to navigate life with greater clarity and confidence. Stoicism also teaches that self-reliance doesn't mean refusing help or isolating yourself. It means recognizing that, while connections with others are valuable, your sense of security and self-worth should not depend on them. A self-reliant person can accept help when needed, but they do so from a place of strength, not dependence. They understand that while others may offer support, their ultimate well-being comes from within. Another key element of self-reliance is resilience. Life will inevitably present challenges, and Stoicism teaches that resilience is the ability to face adversity with courage and composure. When you rely on yourself, you develop the mental and emotional tools needed to bounce back from setbacks. This resilience is built through discipline, reflection, and the practice of staying present in the face of difficulty. Rather than relying on others to pick you up, you learn to pick yourself up and keep moving forward. Stoic philosophy also highlights the importance of contentment in fostering emotional independence. When you are self-reliant, you find contentment within yourself, rather than constantly searching for it in external achievements or relationships. This inner contentment provides a steady foundation, allowing you to remain grounded regardless of what happens around you. By cultivating a sense of gratitude for what you have and who you are, you free yourself from the constant pursuit of external validation. Self-reliance also involves learning to trust your own judgment. Stoicism encourages individuals to develop wisdom through experience, reflection, and study. As you grow in wisdom, you become more confident in your ability to make decisions that align with your values. This trust in your own judgment is a key part of emotional independence, as it allows you to navigate life without constantly second-guessing yourself or relying on others to make decisions for you. Emotional independence is further strengthened by the practice of detachment. Stoicism teaches that attachment to outcomes, people, or possessions can lead to suffering. When you cultivate emotional independence, you learn to detach from the things that are beyond your control, focusing instead on your own actions and mindset. This detachment doesn't mean indifference, but rather a healthy separation from the need for external circumstances to go a certain way. It allows you to find peace within, regardless of what happens externally. Another important aspect of self-reliance is the development of self-discipline. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of controlling your impulses and making choices that align with your long-term goals and values. Self-discipline allows you to stay focused on what truly matters, even when distractions or temptations arise. By relying on your own inner strength and discipline, you build a sense of autonomy and confidence that reinforces your emotional independence. Stoicism also teaches that self-reliance is closely linked to personal growth. When you rely on yourself, you take full responsibility for your own development. This means constantly seeking opportunities to learn, grow, and improve, rather than waiting for others to guide or push you. Personal growth is a lifelong journey, and self-reliance ensures that you remain committed to this journey, regardless of external support or validation. Emotional independence also involves recognizing and managing your own emotional triggers. Stoicism teaches that while external events may trigger emotional responses, it is ultimately your interpretation of these events that causes distress. By becoming aware of your emotional triggers and learning to manage them, you gain greater control over your reactions. This emotional mastery is a key part of independence, as it prevents external situations or people from having undue influence over your state of mind. Another important element of self-reliance is the ability to find fulfillment in solitude. Stoicism teaches that while human connection is valuable, solitude is equally important for reflection and growth. When you are self-reliant, you can find peace and contentment in your own company, without needing constant interaction or validation from others. This ability to enjoy solitude strengthens your emotional independence, as it allows you to rely on your own inner resources for fulfillment. Stoic philosophy also emphasizes the importance of self-care in fostering self-reliance. Taking care of your physical, mental, and emotional well-being is essential for maintaining the strength and resilience needed to rely on yourself. Self-care is not a luxury, but a necessity for living a balanced and fulfilling life. By prioritizing your own well-being, you ensure that you have the energy and clarity needed to navigate life's challenges with independence and confidence. Self-reliance also involves the ability to set and pursue your own goals. Stoicism teaches that each individual has a unique purpose, and it is up to you to define and pursue your goals in alignment with your values. When you rely on yourself, you take ownership of your aspirations and work diligently toward them, without needing constant encouragement or direction from others. This autonomy in goal setting and achievement is a key aspect of personal freedom. Emotional independence also requires the ability to let go of unhealthy relationships or attachments. Stoicism teaches that clinging to relationships that no longer serve you can lead to emotional suffering. By cultivating independence, you gain the strength to let go of relationships or situations that are holding you back, trusting that you can navigate life's challenges on your own. This willingness to release what no longer serves you is a powerful form of emotional liberation. Another key aspect of self-reliance is the ability to manage your own expectations. Stoicism teaches that unrealistic expectations often lead to disappointment and frustration. By learning to set realistic expectations for yourself and others, you prevent unnecessary emotional turmoil. Self-reliance involves taking responsibility for your own expectations and adjusting them when necessary, ensuring that you remain grounded and focused on what is truly within your control. Stoicism also teaches that self-reliance involves accepting responsibility for your own happiness. Rather than relying on external circumstances or people to make you happy, emotional independence means finding joy and contentment within yourself. This shift in perspective allows you to approach life from a place of abundance, rather than constantly seeking happiness in the outside world. By taking ownership of your own happiness, you free yourself from the need to constantly chase external sources of fulfillment. Self-reliance also involves the practice of gratitude. Stoicism teaches that gratitude is a powerful tool for cultivating inner peace and resilience. By focusing on what you have rather than what you lack, you shift your mindset from scarcity to abundance. This practice of gratitude strengthens your emotional independence, as it allows you to find contentment within yourself, regardless of external circumstances. Gratitude helps you appreciate your own strengths and resources, reinforcing your ability to rely on yourself. Another important element of self-reliance is the development of emotional resilience. Stoicism teaches that life is full of challenges, and emotional resilience is the ability to face these challenges with strength and composure. When you rely on yourself, you develop the tools needed to navigate adversity without falling apart or becoming overly dependent on others for support. Emotional resilience allows you to remain calm and focused, even in the face of difficulties, reinforcing your sense of independence. Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of self-compassion in fostering emotional independence. While self-reliance requires strength and discipline, it also involves being kind and patient with yourself. Self-compassion allows you to acknowledge your mistakes and shortcomings without harsh judgment, giving you the space to grow and improve. This balance of strength and self-compassion is essential for maintaining emotional independence, as it allows you to navigate life's challenges with resilience and grace. Another key aspect of self-reliance is the ability to make decisions confidently. Stoicism teaches that indecision and self-doubt often stem from a lack of trust in oneself. By cultivating self-reliance, you develop the confidence to make decisions based on your own values and wisdom without constantly seeking the approval or advice of others. This decisiveness reinforces your emotional independence, as it allows you to take control of your life and make choices that align with your goals and principles. Stoicism also teaches that self-reliance involves embracing personal responsibility for your own actions and choices. When you rely on yourself, you accept that you are the author of your own life, and you take ownership of the consequences of your decisions. This sense of personal responsibility is empowering, as it allows you to learn from your mistakes and grow stronger over time. By taking full responsibility for your life, you cultivate a sense of independence and agency that allows you to navigate the world with confidence. Emotional independence also requires the ability to find meaning and purpose within yourself. Stoicism teaches that a meaningful life is one lived in accordance with your values and principles. When you rely on yourself, you take responsibility for creating a life of purpose, rather than waiting for external circumstances to provide meaning. This inner sense of purpose strengthens your emotional independence, as it allows you to navigate life with a clear sense of direction and fulfillment. Another important element of self-reliance is the ability to maintain your integrity in the face of external pressures. Stoicism teaches that true strength comes from living in alignment with your values, regardless of what others may think or expect. By relying on yourself, you develop the courage to stay true to your principles, even when it's difficult or unpopular. This integrity reinforces your emotional independence, as it allows you to live authentically and confidently without being swayed by the opinions or judgments of others. Self-reliance also involves the ability to embrace uncertainty. Stoicism teaches that life is full of unpredictability, and emotional independence means learning to navigate the unknown with grace and resilience. When you rely on yourself, you trust that you have the strength and wisdom to handle whatever comes your way, even when the future is uncertain. This ability to embrace uncertainty strengthens your sense of independence, as it allows you to face life's challenges with confidence and calm. Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of continuous learning and growth in fostering self-reliance. When you rely on yourself, you commit to a lifelong journey of self-improvement and personal development. This means constantly seeking knowledge, wisdom, and new experiences that help you grow stronger and more resilient. By taking responsibility for your own growth, you cultivate a sense of independence that allows you to navigate life's challenges with greater ease and confidence. Another key aspect of self-reliance is the ability to let go of the need for control. Stoicism teaches that trying to control external circumstances or other people often leads to frustration and disappointment. When you rely on yourself, you recognize that true control lies in your own thoughts, actions, and responses. This shift in focus allows you to let go of the need to control everything around you, freeing you to focus on what you can change: yourself. This inner control reinforces your emotional independence, as it allows you to navigate life with a sense of peace and clarity. Self-reliance also involves the practice of patience. Stoicism teaches that personal growth and development take time, and emotional independence requires patience with yourself and the process. By cultivating patience, you allow yourself the space to learn, grow, and make mistakes without becoming discouraged. This patience is essential for maintaining your independence, as it ensures that you remain committed to your own journey, even when progress feels slow or difficult. Stoicism teaches that self-reliance is an ongoing practice. It is not something that is achieved once and then forgotten, but a continuous effort to cultivate inner strength, resilience, and emotional independence. By committing to this practice, you ensure that you remain grounded, confident, and self-sufficient, regardless of what life throws your way. This ongoing journey of self-reliance allows you to live a life of true freedom, guided by your own values, wisdom, and inner strength. As we've explored the types of people we should never help through the lens of Stoic wisdom, it becomes clear that protecting our peace, energy, and emotional well-being is an essential part of living a virtuous life. Stoicism teaches us to draw boundaries with those who drain us, deceive us, or manipulate us, while fostering relationships that encourage growth, respect, and mutual support. By choosing who we invest our time and energy into wisely, we not only protect ourselves, but also allow space for deeper, more meaningful connections that align with our values. Stoicism is not about cutting people off without reason. It's about understanding who deserves our help and who will only pull us further from our path of personal growth and peace. From learning emotional detachment to fostering self-reliance, each lesson reminds us that we are in control of our own reactions, our own energy, and ultimately, our own lives. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever found yourself helping someone at the cost of your own peace? Leave a comment below and let's continue the conversation. And if you found value in this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon so you never miss out on future insights on Stoicism and personal growth. Let's keep learning and growing together.